Good morning, friends. It is Tuesday, April 30th, and every day we get closer to the month of May. It is Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji until 1 o'clock today, as we always do it with you, unless there's a Cardinals Day game like there is tomorrow. Actually, there's a Cardinals Day game today, which happens with the pregame at 1:45. At any rate, we're with you until 1 o'clock today. 314-436-7900. That is the number you can call and text. Voicemails, different number, 314-944-1120. Those are the voicemail line is always open. So is our social media. At Chris Amy KMOX is the handle if you would like to follow us. We are broadcasting on 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, and the free Odyssey app.
Time now for the top of the order. The top three stories everybody will be talking about.
President of the Board of Aldermen, Megan Green, is now on administrative leave from Washington University, where she was an adjunct professor after her participation in the protest over the weekend. Campus protests continue around the country.
And it's darn near impossible to buy a house, especially for first-time home buyers, and Wall Street investors are a big reason why.
And the Cardinals will have a double header today. After being rained out, they will play in Detroit. As I mentioned, the broadcast will begin at 1:45.
Definitely differences of opinion with regard to this within the Jewish community. And I want to be very careful that we're not making this into simply a Palestinian versus Jewish issue when there is a very broad spectrum of opinion on this issue.
That was Alderwoman Megan Green, Aldermanic President Megan Green, speaking to us yesterday after she participated in the pro-Palestinian protests at Washington University, where about 80 people were arrested. They were released from the St. Louis County Jail later that night. But since that time, some students have been barred from campus, and other faculty members have been placed on administrative leave for taking part in those protests, primarily because of trespassing on private property, Washington University, private university, and the space where they were occupying was private property. They were asked to leave on charges of trespassing. Now, I have the letter here from the Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs at Washington University. And this is the letter that was sent to Megan Green, who is an adjunct lecturer at WashU. I'll read part of it. It's multiple paragraphs. Dear Dr. Green, we have been informed you are part of a group that participated in setting up an encampment on the Danforth campus on Tisch Park on April 27th, 2024. And during that activity, you used your campus card access to allow unauthorized persons into campus buildings against the explicit orders of Washington University Police Department. These are very concerning allegations that, if true, compromised the safety of the campus community. While the university further investigates these concerns, you are being placed on a paid administrative leave. There is an exception if the dean authorizes limited exceptions for purposes below, and so forth.
So she says that she did not use her key card to swipe anybody in. Her exact words were, "I never swiped my card anywhere on campus." They are investigating whether or not she did. And who knows? Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. It certainly would seem to be against the rules to do so. And we talked about this yesterday. I am absolutely in favor of protesting in general. I think it's good. We should have it. Sometimes I think it should be a little disruptive. That is perfectly fine with me as well. I guess I have limits on that, but I understand the civil rights protests that happened decades ago were disruptive and ultimately led to change. So I understand that idea. If there is private property, however, I can't get on board with her swiping people in and out of buildings when they don't belong in those buildings. And I don't know if she did or not. She says she did not. The university says they're taking a look at it to see if she did. And if she did, she'll probably be terminated from that job. And I think that's the right course of action, to be honest.
Also in the conversation with Megan Green, and I want to get back to what you said about protests as well, but she brought up the issue of outside agitators, and those are the ones being violent. And I just want to say this, on some campuses, there were outside agitators, like the
Right.
University of Florida. Absolutely. They were arrested. They were not students, primarily in that interaction between police and protesters. However, at some of these very visible protests at leading universities like Princeton, Yale, and Columbia, UCLA, which are openly targeting Jewish students, not letting them into class, wearing Hamas headbands, raising Hezbollah flags. Those are confirmed students. So again, when you're looking at a situation like this, it's messy. You can look at University of Florida and say, okay, I recognize they were outside agitators. I'm going to look at Columbia and Princeton and see, okay, these are confirmed students.
There
That's
were
an
some
important
outside
note.
people at Columbia. That's what they were talking about when that was really the first place that started to get traction in terms of the protests. There were people on the ground saying there were people outside the campus and just inside they could all see each other. And there were people from the outside who certainly were part of the whole mix.
Right. But there were primarily students in like the building that's been overtaken right now. They've barricaded themselves in a building on Columbia. Those were students. I only say that because I want to acknowledge that you can look at a situation and say sometimes there are outside agitators, sometimes there aren't. That's my biggest thing. When it comes to the protests, I agree with you that protests have played an enormously important role in our history. However, I also feel that protests in and of themselves are not virtuous just because you're protesting, because all causes are not equal. All protests and their actions are not worthy. So I want to say, like, you could be a real jerk with a bad cause, like a neo-Nazi protest. That's a bad protest.
Mhm.
It's not virtuous. So I think that's important to note, that protests in and of themselves are not virtuous. And we do have to look at the method of protesting and say, okay, you may say that, well, wanting Israel to use more discretion to, call for a ceasefire, that is something that you absolutely have a right to protest. But when it comes to law breaking, we can't just decide, well, because I consider this social justice, I can break any laws I want.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Like I said yesterday, I don't really have a team here because what happened on October 7th is horrific, and the people who did it should absolutely be caught, punished, killed, whatever.
Can you clarify by a team here? Because I actually was going to ask you about that. When you're saying you don't have a team, are you talking about in the protests?
I don't care more about Palestinian or Jewish lives. I don't care more about one over the other. Because I don't think I should.
When it comes to,
because they're just people.
When it comes to the
and I'm not,
protests,
and before people freak out, I'm not saying Hamas is part of that. I'm talking about children. We've seen children literally be dragged out of rubble in Gaza. We've seen them starving. They're nothing but skin and bones. We know disease is getting worse. Starvation is a real problem there too.
No,
so
I get that.
care about those lives. I care about Jewish lives as well. That's so I don't have a team here. I'm not all pro-Palestinian or all pro-Israel here because, first of all, I don't think the Israeli government is representing all Jewish people. They're just not, because there are a lot of people who absolutely disagree with the Israeli government, including Israelis who are protesting in Tel Aviv by the thousands against what Netanyahu has done and him just being in power. They don't want him there. So I don't have a team here that I represent. I think all of those lives are incredibly important.
So I guess this is my question then, because I get it. And absolutely, Israel needs to use restraint, and absolutely, and I say restraint, and I feel like they are, to be honest, in some ways, and in some ways, Netanyahu,
in a lot of ways, they are absolutely
is
not
making his decisions,
Tens
and he
of
said he's
thousands
moving
of people are
forward. Killed. I also feel like, well, Hamas could end it right now by releasing the hostages, and they're not doing that.
But that's to take Israel out of, like, to say they have no agency in this, but they absolutely do.
And so does Hamas. And I guess here's my point.
Exactly.
Remember how I always say with the Republican Party, what do you do when the idiots are on your side? I have valid conservative arguments when it comes to domestic policy. And those are being drowned out by idiots like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Donald Trump. And that frustrates me. If you are someone who truly values Palestinian lives and said, hey, I'm really pushing back against the way the Israeli government is handling this, aren't you furious that so many of these pro-Palestinian protesters are blocking Jewish students from going to class, are raising ISIS flags? Like we did have one, and it was an older man, so I don't know if it was an agitator or whoever. At Wash U, he had an ISIS flag. At Princeton, where students are raising Hezbollah flags. We're talking terrorist groups that kill so many children and mutilate and torture and rape women and make women second-class citizens and are anti-democratic and would kill people if it's even rumored that they are gay. Like, aren't you mad then that the protests have so much visible pro-terror support, including chants?
But also, yes, but also people who are Palestinian, people who live in Gaza, a lot of them have that feeling about the Israeli government. They think because there's a history there that I don't live. You don't live there. I don't live there. I don't know what it's like to be a Palestinian living in Gaza. I don't know what it's like to live in the West Bank. I have no idea personally, but people there believe that the Israeli government is oppressive to them. And I can't say they're not. I don't know. I don't live that experience.
But you could look into it and you can see a difference
And I have
between a
looked into
country like in Gaza where gay people, if you're two men who are rumored to be gay, had their heads chopped off, or women are second-class citizens, right? Like to me, if you're going to look at countries and going, this Gaza is run by a terrorist organization in Hamas, and the people are suffering. Could it be that they're suffering because they are being run by a terrorist organization that steals all of the aid, steals their money, steals their access to water?
It could be both.
And I get it. I guess my point is, Israel is not perfect. I agree 100%. Hamas and the Palestinians and Gaza is also not perfect, but there is zero moral equivalence between Israel and Hamas, in the same way that, like, I really struggle with the both sidesism here, because it's like with Biden and Trump, and they're like, yeah, but Trump is so much worse. With this, Hamas running the Gaza Strip, there's a reason why Egypt, Libya, Syria won't take Palestinians, because they know they are taking a community that will either be run or is being run by a terrorist organization, so they won't even take them temporarily. So yes, there is zero moral equivalence between Israel and Hamas, and so it's a very asymmetric situation.
But a lot of those countries don't really think much of the Israeli government either. So it's no, there's not a moral equivalency, and it's not. I'm not trying to both sides anything, but I think that it's important to note that there are millions of people who live in that region who don't feel like the Israeli government is particularly good either. And it sounds like there are some Israelis who believe the exact same thing. That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. 314-436-7900 to visit with us. We have a lot coming up on the show today, and we hope you'll stick around for it. A lot of Cardinals talk today as well. They got a doubleheader coming up at 1:45. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
St. Louis Fence Works has been serving the St. Louis, St. Charles, Franklin, and Warren counties for over 50 years, going all the way back to 1971 when Russ and Carolyn Long opened the company, and now their son, Sean Timothy Long, he runs the company. And I bring that up a lot, and there's a reason why. I think there's great assurance when you know that a company that you're working with, you know the owners, you know the people who run it, you know that they are providing for their families by providing for your family. It's a truly community feel. This isn't a big no-name company, faceless company. You're going to know that the people at STL Fenceworks stand behind their products. By the way, if you're getting a fence or a deck, you can rest assured that those materials are wholly sourced and manufactured right here in the United States, and that all of the craftsmen who will show up to work at your house to install that fence or build that maintenance-free deck will do so in a timely manner, an experienced manner. They won't leave a mess, and you will just have a backyard dream come true after you work with STL Fenceworks. Visit them today, stlfenceworks.com, stlfenceworks.com.
A goal without a plan is just a wish. To get started on your retirement income plan, call Sachs Financial today and live your best life now and in retirement. Sachs Financial, the home of the retirement compensation plan at retiresafestl.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan with a quick reminder. Schedule that annual eye exam. Routine eye exams not only diagnose vision changes, but can detect systemic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, thyroid disease, to name just a few. Do what I do. Call Ophthalmology Associates at 314-966-5000. The doctors there, Greg Birdie, Ranj Malhotra, Samuel Berry, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, will provide you with the area's most comprehensive eye exam. These doctors can also help with dry eye disease, the result of staring at screens, flying in airplanes, or living in a dry environment. Dry eye sounds harmless, but it can cause inflammation, blurred vision, and damage to the eye's surface that's sometimes difficult to reverse. The doctors at Ophthalmology Associates are expert in diagnosis and treatment of dry eye disease. 314-966-5000, yourEyeDoc.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
No fights, just insights. Talking politics with respect for all. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Going to talk about the Federal Trade Commission's ban on non-compete agreements. That'll be at the bottom of the hour. Somebody from the FTC, Director of Public Affairs, Douglas Farrar, is going to join the show.
My goal is to not call it a no trade clause, which I've called it like 7 times.
Me too.
I kept talking about
Sports on the brain.
Okay. Ranj yesterday mentioned that he thinks a lot of the students protesting are low-informed students, and which is crazy because we're talking about the most prestigious universities in our country. But I agree. And I also said I think they're low-informed, entitled students. But this was a student being interviewed at Columbia during the protests.
So it sounds like you've been familiar with the issue of Palestine before October 7th. When did you first start learning about Palestine? And when was that?
Yeah, so not too much. I came up in the New York City public school system. I think it was in high school. I had a teacher who, told us. My background, I'm black and white, so I grew up in a very more of like American-based African diaspora conversations. So I think it was in high school we started talking about how Israel was given like the two-state and that sort of thing. And I had a teacher who was like, I don't think there can be much sympathy for their position now, given the mass violence they've incited on the Palestinian people. And I think that was the first time an educator had ever said that. That was my junior year at a high school in the Bronx. And yeah, ever since, I mean, I grew up on Obama. I went to his inaugurations, big Democratic household, and I had no idea that he was responsible, dropped more drone bombs and whatnot on the Middle East than any president in history. I had no idea he was a terrorist. That was not part of what I was fed growing up as an Obama kid.
So what you see there is just a lot of ignorance, lack of knowledge of history and context, because it starts off, first of all, not the most well-spoken student I've ever heard speak. And again, a little bit surprising considering it's a 3% acceptance rate at Columbia. And
well, not everybody's great in interviews either.
not everyone is great, but this, to be protesting, right, it showed low information protester. And then it kind of kept getting worse when she said, I didn't know Obama was a terrorist.
That's the part that really lost me.
Yep. And I
Is
think that
Obama-
shows again
But
a
you can-
disdain for history, a disdain for American history, and knowing that, yes, war is ugly and it is awful, but sometimes you do have to drop bombs to defend yourself.
There's no question that under Barack Obama, the usage of drones and bombings from drones increased from the prior administration, also because the technology became better and there were just more of them. But it's not like, if he has agency there too, but to call him a terrorist, I
Right.
think is absurd.
And also, one reason that the United States did use drones, because we weren't fighting armies that were marching. We were fighting coward terrorists who were hiding in homes. And with the drones, you could use precision bombing at times, right, to make sure you're trying to limit collateral damage. We didn't always do the best job, but Obama was not carpet bombing people in Afghanistan or Iraq. Like, they're with the United States, not perfect, but generally the intentions are good.
The reason I say, and this is just overall, but I know we have to get to break here, but the reason I say this about the low information folks and how I don't worry too much about what happens on college campuses, quite frankly, I think in 2 months we're not going to be talking about this at all. I think this will be over, and I think it will be a blip. And I don't think it's going to lead to any significant change. There are going to be a lot of people protesting, and then this will just end. That's how I think this is going to go. I do not like overvaluing what happens on college campuses. And I do think the attention that Columbia got probably sparked a lot of what's happening around the country and exacerbated it significantly.
And I worry
and
because,
I don't think that it would have.
And I worry because such a disproportionate percentage of our leaders in business and in politics come out of those universities. It's very disproportionate.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. We are going to talk to somebody from the Federal Trade Commission about the non-compete agreements that are allegedly going away. Don't say no trade clause, because that's not what this is. Chris and Amy on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns. Here we'd have dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
At 10:30, Sun and 71 downtown at the Arch. A judge finds former President Donald Trump in contempt of court for violating the gag order 9 times in his criminal trial, orders him to pay a $9,000 fine. Loyola law professor and former federal prosecutor Lori Levinson says the judge is putting his foot down.
I think the court made it very clear to Donald Trump that this type of activity, violating the gag order, and using social media to go after witnesses and others must stop.
A deadly sword attack in the UK.
Drop the sword. Police in Northeast London pursuing a man brandishing a sword when he runs across garage rooftops out of their reach. The suspect is now in custody, but a 14-year-old boy is dead. 4 others were hospitalized, including 2 police officers. Police ruling out terrorism as a motive. Vicky Barker, CBS News.
AT&T will donate 200 laptops today to students at Harris Stowe State University. They want to equip students in the Anheuser-Busch School of Business with the tools they need to pursue entrepreneurial dreams and affect meaningful change. AT&T will be at the school's Center of Innovation in Laclede from 3 till 5 p.m. handing out laptops. We've got road work on 60, 440 going west at Boyle in the right lane, and emergency vehicles on 70 going east at Florissant. That's got the right lane closed. For today, sunny and warm with a high of 85. A thunderstorm tonight, low 63. For tomorrow, mix of clouds and sun, high temperature 82. Sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. Are you considering life insurance? Penn Mutual's accelerated client experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. 71 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underline Three Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
There's breaking news all day long from around the world, and sometimes all that noise makes it hard to hear about what's happening right here at home. With the free Odyssey app, getting your local news plus breaking news is easy. And even when you're not near a radio, stay connected with what's going on right here by listening live and push alerts. Just download the free Odyssey app and search and follow your local news station, and you're good to go. The local breaking news to get you through your day at your fingertips on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
If you're thinking about doing a little home improvement, especially one that you don't have to do the installation, think about getting a Beam central vacuum system. It's the kind of home upgrade that really checks all the boxes, because when you compare and evaluate, a Beam system makes so much sense. There's a reason why nearly every high-end home in St. Louis is built with a Beam. A Beam vacuum system is very smart because it adds value to your home. Beam whole house vacuum system starts at just $11.99, including installation, and it's an investment, not just in your home, but in a healthy lifestyle. Every time you vacuum, you'll save time because a Beam is more efficient and 5 times stronger, so you'll clean better in less time. And since you're getting all the deep down dirt and grit, vacuuming with a Beam will keep your rugs and carpets looking brand new for many years to come. So you get value from your Beam system every day. Call Beam of St. Louis today. 314-567-1515 or online at beamstl.com.
Beam's home sale is starting early. Every system for every size home now on sale.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $129. Take $50 off your air duct cleaning. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and book your appointment today.
Stay connected with the heartbeat of St. Louis. KMOX News, bringing you the stories that matter most. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Chris and Amy show on KMOX. Time to go to the Quiver River Electric guest line. And you may have heard that non-compete agreements appear to be going by the wayside after a decision recently by the Federal Trade Commission. We are joined now by the Director of Public Affairs for the FTC, Douglas Farrar, who's with us on KMOX. We appreciate your time, Douglas. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, thank you for joining us. And just because it is something, it's a very buzzy topic that the FTC rule now bans non-competes. What do people need to know about what this means and when this ban on non-competes might go into effect?
Sure. So what this means is that for the 30 million Americans who are under a non-compete clause currently in their employment contracts, this rule, when it goes into effect, will render those non-compete clauses unenforceable with just a few small exemptions, less than 1% of that overall group, which we can talk about later. But what this means is for most working Americans, it's $524 back in their pocket per year. It means that we could see as many as 8,500 new businesses created each year, and we could see close to 30,000 new patents each year. So we expect a big pro-growth boost to the economy, to workers' bottom lines, and to the innovation economy as well.
So, for example, all of us in this business, we all have non-compete clauses in our contracts already written in. Those are all null and void?
Well, once the rule goes into effect, employers will have to notify their employees who have non-compete clauses that those clauses are no longer enforceable. This is a small change from when we previously announced it, but should allow companies to save time and money from having to not go back and redo contracts for everybody. But yeah, that's right. I mean, we want to free people from these restrictive covenants and unlock the benefit of competition that'll come along with folks finding new jobs and starting new businesses.
Amy, let's leave.
I know.
We can leave now. Let's go.
I don't think I can get anything better.
Oh, yeah. No, let's stay here. Never mind.
So this rule was initially proposed by the FTC in January of 2023. What is the history of building up to this rule proposal, and what was the catalyst for it finally happening?
Sure. So, I mean, there's a long history of rulemaking in the FTC, and I know there's been a lot of talk about legal authority, and we can get into that if you guys want, but I'm not a lawyer. I just read the law that created the FTC Act, and it has a couple lines in there that are important. One says the FTC shall basically stop unfair methods of competition in the economy. Those are now illegal. And the FTC shall write rules and regulations to enforce this act. And again, I didn't go to law school, but it seems pretty clear to me. So that's kind of the baseline history of how we can write rules. And why we decided to write this rule is because, people think about non-compete clauses and they think, okay, this is like a senior executive, a C-suite, a CEO, but they're prevalent across the economy. We're talking about bartenders, hairstylists, minimum wage workers like security guards, also doctors, members of the media, including both excellent hosts I'm talking to today. So, the proliferation, there you go.
Thanks,
Flattery
Tom.
gets you everywhere. So the proliferation in the economy is a huge problem. And our job is to stop anti-competitive practices in the economy. And this is becoming a really big problem that we needed to address.
What sort of legal challenges do you expect?
So we've been sued twice, once by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and once by a tax company in Texas. They're very similar lawsuits as I understand it. And so we look forward to seeing them in court. I would say Congress gave us this authority and has repeatedly agreed that we have this authority, and the courts have also ruled the same since the FTC was founded. So we feel like we're on really good and firm legal footing to do this.
Shifting gears here to something that everybody talks about and feels every day, which is grocery store prices. Recently, the FTC called out profits as a primary driver of rising grocery prices. What do we know about that? What did the FTC find, and what does it think that it maybe can do?
Sure. So after COVID, we initiated a market study, which is something we do often here, looking at the supply chains for grocery stores. And obviously, what we found was that companies initially faced a really big shock because supply chains are very consolidated. And so when companies were expecting, on-time deliveries just before they want to put stuff on the shelves, and that got disrupted, that led to obviously all of us having trouble finding toilet paper on the shelves, among other things, but also price increases. The other thing we found, though, is that as two kind of bad things is, one, companies, especially big companies, used the COVID supply shock to keep prices high after the supply shock had disappeared. So consumers like you and me are paying high prices for stuff even after the high prices resulting from COVID kind of dissipated. And so they were extracting a lot of extra money out of the economy. The other thing we found is that the big companies used their weight to compel suppliers to give them more of the supplies like toilet paper and cleansing wipes and stuff like that at the expense of smaller companies. So that means if you live close to a big store, you probably had access to plenty of goods and what you needed to buy. But if you're living somewhere with a sort of a smaller regional chain, you might have really had trouble accessing products you wanted to buy.
Is there, what sort of recourse is there? Because the narrative for months has been, well, it's the administration and their policies have led to this inflation, when it's not just the FTC. We've seen this from economists too, who have said some of these rising costs that happened during COVID are not necessary any longer, but companies are taking advantage of us. What sort of recourse is there then? Because it seems to us like the prices are what they are now, and they're not going back down.
Well, I think one important thing is just calling it out, right? I mean, I think if consumers are aware, that helps. And certainly it enables policymakers like those in Congress can take the report that we produced about the supply chain shock and its effects and take action. The president and the administration have done a lot on this. We focused on junk fees and trying to lower costs by eliminating junk fees. Think about like the quote convenience fee you pay when you go to book a hotel and other fees like that. We're trying to drive costs down that way. The other thing is we've challenged a merger between two grocery store chains, Kroger and Albertsons. They're the two largest grocery store chains in the country. They want to merge to become the largest ever. And we're really worried that merger will lead to price increases. So we're trying to act to stop that merger on behalf of protecting competition and keeping prices low.
So what's to stop a hotel if you do away with a convenience fee? Well, wouldn't they just add it to the base price? Is the incentive or the lack of incentive there for them to be like, well, that'll just look like the price is more expensive, so the people will go to a competitor? What exactly can be done with that?
Well, there's a couple things. So first, we believe that Americans are paying billions of dollars in junk fees a year. So just by removing those and making those illegal, we think prices will go down some percentage. But what's really good and what you kind of pointed to is the benefits of competition. If you're a consumer and you're able to really accurately compare prices for something like a hotel room, you're going to go to the lowest price hotel room that fits your needs. But when you're a consumer and you're being told that a price is X when it's actually X plus hundreds of dollars, you're really unable to do that comparison. And therefore, it's harder for you to shop for the best bargain. And so we think the benefit of competition and upfront pricing will both drive prices down, but enable consumers to play that check on the economy and on competition that makes sure that companies are pricing things correctly and as low as they can in order to keep their business going.
Yeah, and I get frustrated with the junk fees, but playing devil's advocate here, how does the FTC determine what is a junk fee, what fee is too high, what, saying, well, okay, you're a company, you don't really need to charge this? Because it can be a weird line, right, for the FTC to say what a company can charge or can't charge.
Totally. So junk fees are hidden charges that are attached to goods and services. So part of what our definition is when the fee comes up. So if the fee is not disclosed until the end, or even like as you're going through the final stage of purchasing, then that would be definitely categorized as a junk fee. The other thing that makes a junk fee is a fee that kind of has no purpose, right? I mean, a convenience fee is not paying for anything. It's simply an additional charge being tacked on at the end, right? There's a number of these other fees, most notably in the ticketing business, where if you've ever bought a ticket to go to a concert recently or a sports event. So there are certain clear definitions of junk fees, mostly having to do with when they're assessed and what they're being charged for, that define junk fees. And I encourage your listeners to go on the FTC website if they want to go deep on understanding that exact line.
Douglas Farrar, who is the Federal Trade Commission Director of Public Affairs. We'd like to have you on again, and we'll talk about some of those things, concert fees and ticket fees for sporting events. Those are things that people here care about as well. So sometime down the road, let's talk again.
I'd love to be back, and I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Douglas Farrar with us here on KMOX. The website he was talking about is ftc.gov. Did you see this? Next on KMOX.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now, your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. Good for you. That's cash that you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel, everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with the TrueHold Sell and Stay Leaseback program. This is a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to TrueHold while its value is high. You bank all that equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a TrueHold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993. That's 1-855-300-9993. Or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Legacy Box is offering a 60% discount. Order yours today and take advantage of our best Mother's Day sale ever. Visit legacybox.com/value and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value for 60% off. legacybox.com/value.
Cardinals rained out yesterday in Detroit. That means a straight double header today, starting with our 1:45 pregame show. First pitch 2:40 for game one. It's Kyle Gibson against former Cardinals starter Jack Flaherty going for Detroit. The Cardinal Report brought to you by Aloha Pools USA. Win big with a pool or spa at alohapoolsusa.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Universal Windows Direct. If you sell your home, you can actually give the buyers a 20-year warranty on those windows. Call my special number, 314-334-2522, or simply log on to uwd.com.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
The IRS definitely ramped up operations since the pandemic slowed them down, and activity only increases from here. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. If you're currently under audit or you haven't paid your taxes in the past, now's the time to call the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS has a published Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which says you have the right to retain legal representation because IRS problems are legal problems, and the Lance Story Law Firm focuses specifically on addressing IRS issues for our clients. It's all we do. We get out in front of the IRS, devise the best resolution plan, and work to make sure you're able to take advantage of every program you're qualified to receive. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure company, call the Lance Story Law Firm. We're local, located right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Schedule your free tree inspection from Gamma Tree Experts now. I'm Tim Gamma. Our certified arborist and horticulturist are ready to meet you in preparation of the coming season. Winter is always hard on a lot of trees here in St. Louis. If you have a tree that you're really concerned about, let us come take a look at it for free. I'm Tim Gamma. Give me a call at 725-6159. That's 314-725-6159. Your trees deserve the best care from Gamma Tree Experts.
Did you see that thing? I can't believe it. Something is obviously wrong.
This is a joke, right?
Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me? No way.
You gotta be kidding me. Don't feel bad. There's no way you could have known that.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy on the show?
I'm changing the name of this segment to I Hope You Didn't See This because I've got some good stuff. Okay, let's start at the New York Mets Citi Field opening day.
Yes.
There was a 97-year-old veteran who was honored
Oh, thank you for your service.
Yep, as the veteran of the game of opening day.
Yeah.
On opening day. He is going viral because his name is Seymour Wiener.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it is not.
It's Seymour Wiener. He went viral after being recognized on opening day. And now,
No, it's
now
not.
the Mets are partnering with him to promote Dollar Dog Night at Citi Field. He said as a kid he was teased for his name, which is really sad. But now he's so excited about the celebrity. He said it's probably one of the highlights of my life.
I think this is a 97-year-old prankster.
No.
And I would like to check his veteran's credentials.
He's a veteran. He's
I didn't
97.
believe he was a veteran. I think he lied
Oh,
about his service.
Come on, stop. No.
Seymour. His name's not Seymour Wiener.
Yes, it
No,
is.
it is not.
Yes,
He's
it
a
is.
liar.
No, stop saying that.
He's a 97-year-old liar.
I am so happy for him. Okay, here's another really, really cool story.
I've got one too.
Oh, I'll just go.
Oh,
Since
it's
I
all about
started.
you, isn't it?
It is. It
Nope,
is.
I'm going to butt in here.
Are you going to butt in?
Dave and Buster's. Have you seen
You
the story
butted
about?
in for a Dave and Buster's story?
Yeah. Have you seen the story about Dave and Buster's that is going to start allowing people to bet on games that are being played in Dave and Buster's?
So dumb.
No, seriously. Adults age 18 or older, you can place real money wagers on arcade games like skee ball.
How do you know someone's not going to throw a skee ball game?
I don't know the answer to this. You can make a friendly $5 wager on a Hot Shots basketball game or a skee ball competition. The betting function will launch in the next few months. They're going to work on an app for this.
I think
So your buddies can get together and bet on a game?
I don't, because that seems like an easy way to throw the game. I feel like Dave and Buster's is out over their ski balls.
So I saw somebody comment on this and say, if you're betting on games at Dave and Buster's, you need to call that hotline.
You do. You do.
You've got to
not wrong.
call the 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah.
You better be on the phone immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. That's insane. Okay, here is, speaking of like betting and playing the lottery, this is an incredible story. An immigrant from Laos and his family, going back generations, were subsistence farmers in Laos. He came to America and he's been battling cancer for 8 years. He just won a $1.3 billion Powerball ticket.
I saw that.
How incredible is that? So this man who came to the United States in 1994, he used to work in aerospace. He has been dealing with cancer and chemo for the past 8 years. His wife and a friend bought 20 Powerball tickets in hopes of winning the jackpot. And he said he was joking. He said, you don't have to go to work anymore. We won the jackpot. And they actually did. And he said he's giving some of the money to, obviously, his wife, some of the money to the friend. They're splitting it evenly, I believe, who
Okay.
bought the tickets. And he said he's excited because he is going to pay for a really good doctor to help him fight cancer.
Okay. That's
How amazing is that story, though? Come on.
it is. It's good for him. It's really nice.
He
Hey,
did say, he's like, how am I going to spend this money? How long do I have to live to
Oh my
spend the money?
gosh.
Yeah.
So how old is he again?
He's not that old. I need to get the age again.
Okay.
But he has been battling cancer for 8 years.
Well, I wish him the best. See, that's what you want to see. You don't want to see somebody who's already affluent winning the freaking Powerball, Mega Millions, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Just a
or
real
like
kick in the groin.
sometimes in those lottery shows, it's like a real Hoosier. And
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
no.
Who do you think you are?
I mean, it's just like they blow all the money.
This is that West County attitude
No,
we're talking
it's
about.
not.
Yeah, you think
Have you
everybody
watched that
not from
show?
West County is a Hoosier.
That is so not true.
Yes, you do.
We're Hoosiers. We're unincorporated St. Louis County. What are you talking
No, you
about?
don't. You all have ranches out there with livestock. You're not a Hoosier.
We didn't have any livestock.
You have all kinds of
We had-
acreage.
No,
Yeah, you do.
I think this guy needs to get west of 170.
I have, and I've seen it. You all thumb
So
your
your
noses
grandma
at the
who
rest
lived
of us.
in Baldwin, was she thumbing her nose at people?
Yes.
She was not.
Yes, she was. Yes, she
Get
was.
serious. All I know,
Norma thought she was better than everybody.
you think think you're better than everybody.
No, just you.
I'm just telling you, if you ever watch those lottery shows,
Yeah.
and then they blow all the money on just like stupid stuff, and then it's over. It's gone. All their money is gone, and they bought something really stupid, like a blow up Family Guy set or something.
Let me just tell you, if I won,
yeah,
you would never hear from me again, and I wouldn't say anything. I would just be gone. There are some states, I don't know if Missouri is one of those.
Yes,
that
and that's why we can win the lottery now. They passed it 2 years ago.
You have to announce.
No, you don't have to.
Oh, so I can remain anonymous.
In Missouri, we passed a law a couple of years ago, I think, where you can remain anonymous.
I think it's silly that you should have to. Why should I have to announce to everybody that I just made $10 million or whatever it is?
It's ridiculous.
It's absurd. All right. When we come back on the other side of this, Amy Marks-Kors despises Eric Church,
What?
and she's going to tell you why.
No, I don't even know why.
Yeah.
I do know why you should go to the Ophthalmology Associates, though.
So you can go to an Eric Church concert and see him?
him. That's exactly right. I'm not joking. Going to concerts, going to ball games, going to hockey games, you have to be able to see. I was that guy squinting, going like, who is that out there? Especially with the hockey games and the numbers. I'm always squinting. I can't see the numbers. And so I went to see the Ophthalmology Associates. I see Dr. Birdie. I know Ron sees Dr. Malhotra. And you can find your team at the Ophthalmology Associates, the doctors, as Brad Young says, the lawyers, doctors. And it really is true. Your eyesight is so important. It's critical to not just being able to see the players at a ball game or your kids at a soccer game, but also eye comfort. Maybe you have itchy eyes, your eyes are red, your contacts are dry at night. It's hard to drive at night because you have the halos. That could be something simple like dry eye, or it could be a symptom of something more serious. Call the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates at 314-966-5000, 314-966-5000, yourEyeDoc.com.
You collect baseball memorabilia.
16 bobbleheads and counting.
Have a closet full of jerseys.
Number 7, that's my favorite.
And let's not forget
my rally towels.
Now, KMOX and Rawlings are celebrating you, the loyal fan. You could win tickets to an upcoming game and $100 from Rawlings. Get entered now at KMOX.com/contest. Just upload a photo of you decked out in your game day attire.
I'm the best fan.
I'm the best fan.
The best fans in baseball. Presented by KMOX and Rawlings. The mark of a pro.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-578-2415. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-578-2415 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. That's 800-578-2415. To see if you qualify. That's 800-578-2415.
Summertime is the best time to enjoy the outdoors and enhance the appearance of your home. Banner Construction can make your home the showplace of the neighborhood with maintenance-free James Hardy siding and beautiful Pella replacement windows. Drive up to your home with a renewed pride. Visit bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050. Get a free in-home design and estimate. Call 314-569-1050. And have a banner day. 314-569-1050.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty reminding you why pay more than 4. In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many markets' ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today. 314-441-4444. 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than 4?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It is possible to enjoy luxury, great customer service, and drive away in your new favorite vehicle at Genesis of St. Charles. Check out their brand new brick and mortar location, the first standalone for Genesis in the state of Missouri. And new cars and SUVs are arriving every day. Genesis of St. Charles makes you feel like a welcome guest the moment you walk through the door. And did I mention their service waiting room is like a spa with the best coffee around? But they'll also pick up your car for service and leave you a loaner. Luxury like never before awaits at genesisofstcharles.com.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, we've got sunshine and 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour. The protesters arrested at Washington University are out of jail, but there's no word on any lasting legal consequences. The Office of St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell says it has not received any applications for criminal charges from Washington University campus police. A spokesman for the office says the prosecutor can't comment on evidence he hasn't seen. Police arrested about 100 people Saturday after they refused dispersal orders, including about 25 WashU students and staff, as well as Green Party presidential candidate Jill Stein. The St. Louis Palestine Solidarity Committee is holding a news conference on Saturday's events at noon today by Forest Park. Judge Juan Merchan finds former President Donald Trump for violating the gag order in his criminal trial. Loyola law professor and former federal prosecutor Lori Levinson says the judge is holding the president accountable for his actions.
It looks like Judge Merchan has finally put his foot down and held Donald Trump in contempt for violating the court's gag order. There were 10 charges against Donald Trump for violating the gag order, and the judge said that he was in violation for 9 of them.
KMOX is learning more about the crash victims dropped off outside St. Louis City Hall overnight. Police say city officers and EMS already at Market and Tucker for a crash when 2 severely injured women were left there with them. They came from a single vehicle crash near Bell Fountain Cemetery where a witness loaded the women into his vehicle and drove off trying to find a hospital. An ambulance then took the women the rest of the way to a hospital. One was pronounced dead there. The other was listed in critical but stable condition. If your teen is looking for a summer job, they may need a work permit. State Representative Dave Hinman of O'Fallon says the current law dates back to 1957 and requires 15 and 16-year-olds to get a work permit, which their school must sign off on.
And I think it is a much better proposal to have a permission slip that is signed by the parents. I just feel it's better for the parents to make that decision on whether or not your child should be able to be employed at 15 or 16 years old.
The bill was voted out of committee, but it's not clear if it'll be heard by the full House in Jefferson City before the end of the session. The June 1st deadline to complete FAFSA forms for the 24-25 school year is approaching, and St. Louis City high school applications have dropped by 50%. Caitlin Venta from the Missouri College and Career Attainment Network, or MOCAN, joined KMOX to tell students and parents that FAFSA is important to affordable higher education.
We want students and families to know it's not too late. It is still time. You can still fill out a FAFSA. There is still funding available. So even if you've had challenges or you're feeling behind, take that time to fill out the FAFSA.
The KMOX Business Desk. Walmart is having second thoughts about becoming a big player in healthcare. Business reporter Jason Brooks says that comes down to getting out of the provider business entirely.
Citing a challenging insurance reimbursement environment and higher costs, Walmart announced it's closing all 51 of its health clinics in its stores, as well as shutting down its telehealth provider that it acquired in 2021. The move is a big surprise, given that Walmart recently announced plans to open nearly 24 new clinics through 2025. Walmart says the closure of its clinics won't have any impact on its 4,600 pharmacies and 3,000 vision centers around the country.
The Dow from Stifel's down 322 points to 38,063. We've got emergency vehicles on 44 going west at 141. The right lane is closed there. Also, road work on 55 going south at Imperial, Maine in the right lane. 6440 going west at Ballast. The left lane is closed. And some more road work on 370 going west at 141. The right lane there is closed.
KMOX AccuWeather calling for mostly sunny skies and warm this afternoon with a high of 85 degrees. Then tonight, increasing clouds and remaining mild with a thunderstorm around late, a low down to 63. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Brandon Buckingham on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got sunshine and 73 downtown at the Arch now. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The Chris and Amy Show, sponsored by the St. Louis Cardinals. KMOX Day returns to Busch Stadium May 8th. For details, go to cardinals.com/theme.
I bumped into you by happenstance, probably wouldn't even know who I am. If you whispered your name, I think still be a spark. From back when I was gasoline, this old tattoo had brand new ink. Didn't care what your mama think, got your name on my arm. Baby, is it spring or is it summer? The guitar sound, beat that drum. It's sometime.
So this is Eric Church from the Stagecoach Festival. What's it? Do you mind if I speak? Do you?
That was like when a little kid mimics the mom. Like, stop.
Yeah.
Stop copying me.
Is it okay if I talk now?
How did that happen?
No,
we're so in sync.
Because you butt in. Here's what you know what?
Well, I thought I was supposed to.
It's amazing. Were you the little sister? No, you were the middle. You're
Yeah,
the
but
middle
everybody
child.
thought I was the oldest because I talked all the
Real-
time.
Because you inserted yourself into everything.
Well, no, I was already there. Like my older sister was quiet, so I just kind of took charge. I was like, "Follow me."
Good Lord. Stagecoach Festival is a music festival, and Eric Church performed at it a couple of days ago, and apparently it upset his fans
Yes, it did.
considerably because Eric Church, who is a well-established country artist, has been around for a long time, and he's actually one of the only ones that I kind of sort of enjoy. Country music does not do it for me at all, but that song slaps.
Yeah.
I love that one. Anyway, he decided that he wanted to do something a little bit different. So he had an orchestra. He had a choir sing with him, a 16-person choir. And instead of performing mostly his own songs in his 75-minute set, he performed a bunch of covers, including Stand By Me, Take Me to the River, Hallelujah, Gin and Juice.
Walking in Memphis.
Walking in Memphis.
And he sat on a stool and played acoustic sets with
Yes.
the choir in the background.
So a very low-key performance.
Which also, it sounds amazing. It sounds very beautiful, but fans were livid.
Oh, Walking in Memphis. I hate this song.
I love this song.
I hate Walking in Memphis.
Why?
I just don't like it. Like, I
Oh.
don't like the Tracy Chapman song that became the country
Fast
song.
Car?
I don't like Fast Car.
Really?
Don't care for it.
Well, I like Mark Cohn. At any rate, so they said within 15 minutes and then going after longer than 15 minutes, 20 minutes, fans were leaving en masse. And it said it looked like Moses parting the Red Sea with the fans just leaving. And Eric Church said, well, this was my most ambitious set of his career because he had the choir, he had the covers. And here's the question. Because fans were mad because they said, we paid $600 for a ticket to this festival to see Eric Church so we could rock out to the Eric Church songs that we all know because we like him and his music. So here's the question. Who's in the wrong? Did Eric Church wrong his fans do a disservice to his fans because he wasn't playing what they were expecting when they bought the tickets? Or are the fans in the wrong because they bought tickets to see an artist, Eric Church, and an artist has the liberty to perform a show?
So that's an interesting question. And the answer is unless you have specified ahead of time, hey, I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm going to perform mostly covers. I'm not going to have a full band like I typically do. I'll have different arrangements. I'm going to have a choir. Unless you specify that ahead of time, I think there's a reasonable expectation if you are a fan of an artist or a band that they're going to play pretty much their own music, maybe a cover or two sprinkled in, but you're paying for a ticket. You're not guaranteed a certain set list. The guarantee you get when you see an artist is that they're going to play their stuff. Primarily their stuff, if not almost entirely their stuff. So yeah, I think people absolutely have a right to be upset with that.
Because one of the oldest tropes, and we'll bring in Matt over here. He's a big music guy, has seen all
producer
sorts
Matt?
all sorts of artists.
He doesn't know anything.
One of the
I know a lot
oldest
of stuff.
one of the oldest tropes in music is when you go see a band and they quote play all their new stuff. And you're
that's, hey,
and you get it because they're promoting an
that's
album.
their music.
Right. And Eric Church played some of his music, but also a lot of covers. And I will say sometimes if you have 98% band's original music and then like one or two covers, the covers are fun. But it would be weird if they only played covers.
I agree with that. I mean, I think he's totally in the right to play music that inspired him. But I do think it's pretty bold of him to be doing it at such a huge event, though. Maybe it would be suited better if he did it at a smaller venue, not at a huge concert festival lineup with however many thousands of people there. But I don't know, the fans who are leaving after 15 and 20 minutes, that's like 3 or 4 songs. You know, like give it a chance.
But who opens a set with 3 or 4 of somebody else's songs?
Right.
You
So-
open with your own. If you do anything bold as an artist, you're opening with brand new stuff of yours that nobody's heard yet. That's considered bold.
I
as
think
opposed
it's
to
dumb because you want to get people emotionally invested before you throw the new stuff at them, right?
No, that's not necessarily true. A lot of
Oh, I
artists like
think
to
so.
come, they love to come straight out with their new stuff because there's a lot of energy right up front in the show that's
Mhm.
guaranteed. So if you have the energy, you're playing new stuff, it's more likely for people to have a good association with that song. And that happened to me for a couple of shows, for a couple of U2 shows that I saw, and they played early stuff right away, and I have good association with those songs. Now, Eddie Vedder went on a tour. I don't remember how many years ago, but it was a solo tour where he played songs with a ukulele.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If I had paid for a show thinking I'm seeing Eddie Vedder and he did not specify, hey, this is a ukulele show, and I showed up and he's playing a ukulele the entire time, I'd probably be pissed.
Well, I would say like my dream band to see, which I never will see because they're almost all dead, would be Supertramp. And if I showed up to a Supertramp concert and they were playing like Genesis covers, I would be super frustrated because I've wanted to see Supertramp play their song. So I get it. One person, I know it's so random. You get it though, Matt.
I get it, but Genesis and Supertramp were like contemporaries, I'd say, where Eric Church is more like paying ode to like his influences, I think.
Which is cool.
But if
you
they
were to say,
played
hey,
Beatles or
I'm
Pink
doing influences.
Floyd, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Just say, hey, I'm covering older stuff that influenced me, then yeah, that's
So
great.
one attendee said he hasn't gotten off the stool and most songs are covers with the choir. This isn't what we came for. And then asked Stagecoach to refund their $600 ticket.
Well, now that I can't get on board with because you're paying for an entire music festival, not just one show. So there are other artists you can go see other things. And if you honestly, I think if you pay $600 to just go see one artist, but you have access to an entire festival, it's a little strange. Let's take a call. Daryl is with us from St. Louis and is now on KMOX. Good morning. I almost said afternoon.
All right.
What's up,
I just
Daryl?
wanted to chime in. This is pretty interesting. I'm a musician, and the artist in this case, if we pay $600, no matter if it's multiple, I get it was multiple acts, but I'm coming to see you for what I've grown and love to connect with you with, not your new version of this, of this, of this, of this. You have to give people the original. That's what made me connect to you. So I'm in a lot of gospel and jazz and blah, blah, blah. It's like the Star Spangled Banner. The melodic line is what it is. And because we're so creative, I want to put my spin on everything. Well, I didn't pay to hear what you put your spin on while you was flying here to wherever. And, oh, this is so cool. I'll give you one example. I went to Chicago, Taste of Chicago, and music, I hate to say the artist's name, but he had a great song, and it was called Love. A great wedding song. Well, he remixed the song. And he remixed it so much, we didn't even know what the song was. So an older lady behind me, she was livid. She started cursing and she said, what the is this? I didn't pay to hear you sing some version that you came up with. And we were way in the back. She said, sing it the original way that's on my CD.
Well,
I'm a musician, and I turned to my wife. I said, she's 100% right.
Really? Because I don't know if I'm totally on board
does it
with
feel
that.
a little bit like, to his point though, like a little bit like false advertising because we bought the tickets because we liked what you gave us.
I give you one more example. We saw another great artist, Paul Morton and Junior, and he He came to St. Louis, but he said it was an acoustic set, which meant it was a piano. It was like 3 singers. It was a drummer, but he didn't have any drums. So we knew it was an acoustic set. You weren't coming in hearing live horns, live bass, live guitar. That it wasn't on the flyer. It said it was an acoustic set. Okay, so we showed up to an acoustic set.
Yeah.
If you want the big band, you better go down to New Orleans and catch them at one of the big festivals.
There you
But
go.
at least we knew we came to it. That's the whole point of it.
That's Daryl, thanks for the call. That's exactly the point I made with the Eddie Vedder ukulele thing.
Yeah.
He specified ahead of time, and everybody knew that's what he was doing. So, I mean, imagine, though, if he had not,
If
and you
he had
showed
not.
up and you wanted to hear, Better Man or
Yeah.
Corduroy or whatever, and the guy's playing a ukulele, you probably lose your mind, and you would have every right to. Now, I don't have a problem with playing your own music and maybe picking one of those songs and doing a completely different arrangement. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I think you can be disappointed in the moment as long as the rest of the stuff is fairly true to what you're used to, because that is what people are paying for.
Yeah,
but I don't mind toying around a little bit with your own material.
Musicians are in a unique position because they are artists. There is an artistry to it, and they like to experiment. But at the same time, there's that unwritten rule that you have to have some understanding that what you created, people liked, and they want to see that live. So unless you're very clear that you're doing something different, I mean, I hate to say, you owe it to the fans, but it's more of like that understanding, a trust relationship. Like, I know you're at this concert because you liked what I did on that CD or on those 10 albums versus like, hey, I know you liked my first 10 albums, but like, here's something totally different I did because I got bored. But the
Right.
fans aren't bored.
Right.
The
And
fans aren't bored.
that is an important point because it's not about you.
Right.
Now, you have to write the stuff that you like, but if people are paying money to watch you perform it, then you got to play some of the things that they came to see. This text message to 314-436-7900 says, I went to see Stevie Nicks. When she played her old stuff and Fleetwood Mac stuff, everybody was on their feet clapping and dancing and singing. And then she played her new stuff, which is way too much. Everybody sat down and started talking and not paying attention. It's funny you say that because we're giving away Stevie Nicks tickets today. And there's a very good chance that Stevie Nicks, when she performs at Enterprise Center on May 7th, will be performing some of her own stuff. So you'll maybe newer stuff. I don't know if she has new stuff, but
Is her own stuff that
I think that's her.
That's her.
Fleetwood Mac.
That's
Oh, is
Fleetwood?
it?
Landslide?
Is Landslide Fleetwood?
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. The young one in the room. He's 24.
Fleetwood Mac.
Ever heard of him?
I say, Matt, what is this newfangled band we're talking about here?
Anyway, before the show's over, we're going to give away Stevie Nicks tickets, and we will let you know when it's time to win. We know that time is not yet, but we'll tell you. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX. Oh, Stuart McMillan coming in from the newsroom. He's got an update on this just wild story, or weird at least. We are going to get to the bottom of it, something that happened downtown this morning, and we will get to the bottom of it with Stu next on KMOX.
KMOX and Rawlings salute Donna Vogt. Donna is this week's Best Fans in Baseball winner and will receive 2 tickets to an upcoming game and a $100 Rawlings gift card. Are you one of the best fans in baseball? Go to KMOX.com/contest to play.
If you're thinking about selling your home, I'm sure there are 2 things that you want: certainty and the most money, right? This is Debbie Monterey, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know that the agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis's real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first call when looking for an agent. Gloria does not make empty promises. She provides written guarantees. What does that mean for you? Certainty. Certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she will buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis's real estate expert Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. gloriahasthebuyers.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
To the 20, to the 10, to the 5, to the house.
Faroe Field, home sweet home for Tiger Nation on 7 Saturdays each fall. The traditions and tailgating run deep. The victories roar louder, and you can't get energy like this sitting on your couch. So don't wait. Get up and get in the game. Lock in your seats today because every seat is front row to greatness. Call 1-800-CAT-PAWS or visit mutigers.com/tickets. MIZ.
I get asked a lot, what's the difference between the efficiency ratings and the numbers that customers hear while they're getting prices? Pretty much the difference is the numbers. As far as actual savings, there is a very easy common sense way to explain the differences in the energy ratings and the types of energy rating on the furnaces, what you can get and what you can't get, and what's best suited for you, what you actually do need or what you absolutely do not need. You'll be surprised and very happy that you called me. So call me, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. This is the only number that you need to call. 314-293-2600 or on the website Bart Inman. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
What do you expect from your luxury car? Now think about what you expect from your car dealership. Exactly. For too long, there has been a divide between the company that builds your car and the company that sells or services your car. But that ends now. We're the Audi Exchange, owners of the largest volume Audi dealership in the Midwest. And we're bringing every quality from that store to our new St. Louis location, Audi Exchange Kirkwood. Expect the exceptional. Visit us today on Manchester Road or at audikirkwood.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Local insights, breaking news. KMOX, the news station dedicated to St. Louis and the region.
KMOX Day is coming up May 8th at Busch Stadium. It is a Wednesday. You'll get a bobblehead with Rooney and Ricky on it. I think it's a really cool bobblehead. Also, there's a VIP ticket that you can purchase separately, and you get to have a meet and greet with Rooney and Ricky.
And I think I will say this, the bobblehead has voices.
The Albert Pujols home run, 700. Yep. Cardinals.com/theme. May 8th, KMOX Day, baby.
The bobblehead has voices.
I know, the way that you said that, like, do you hear the voices?
It's haunted.
I hear
Creepy bobbleheads.
I hear a voice. It's Stuart McMillan, who is in from the
Stu
newsroom.
Mac.
Hey, what in the hell happened downtown outside City Hall?
Well, police just gave us an update about this crash, a couple of crashes that happened overnight. So there were a couple of crash victims dropped off outside St. Louis City Hall overnight. And police are saying dropped off. And I'm going to explain what that means.
Okay.
At least what the police are telling us of what is going on here. So city officers and EMS already at Market and Tucker right outside City Hall last night, right next to the Ulysses S. Grant statue. which is still standing today.
One of my favorite drunk presidents.
And because the vehicle was veered off market and was heading towards Grant, but the barriers that are up,
Oh, yeah.
they stopped. They
Nice.
stopped the vehicle, and there was this old iron pole that smashed over.
Okay.
But,
Huzzah for the iron pole.
good job, iron pole.
Way to go.
Holding back the vehicle, and there was debris everywhere from that crash. Now, there were 2 severely injured women who were left there with the officers and the EMS that were already here outside City Hall. Okay, they came from a crash near Bell Fountain Cemetery where a witness loaded the women into his vehicle and then drove off trying to find a hospital. An ambulance. So when he dropped them off here, the ambulance that was already here took them to the hospital. One was pronounced dead.
Oh, okay.
And the other one listed in critical stable condition.
So when I first heard this story, I thought that somebody brought an injured person from a different crash site and a dead person and just left the body on the pavement.
The initial report says they were pronounced deceased. They were deceased, I should say.
Okay.
And so that was what we were reporting earlier this morning because that's what police were telling us. And now they've kind of gotten the full story and we've gotten more details. So they say that the woman was pronounced dead at the hospital. She's not being identified. Actually, she is being identified as a Jane Doe in her 20s. And the driver of the vehicle from this original crash on Bell Fountain near the cemetery was severely hurt in this.
So wait, so the Bell Fountain Cemetery crash was looking for a hospital, driving around, looking for
the
a
witness
hospital.
to that took the women that were in a 1-vehicle crash there. They just crashed their car. It was horrible. They hit a building. They ran into a hydrant and a few other things. And
It sounds like a good Samaritan act, isn't it?
I think they were trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
But looked for a hospital, couldn't find one, or at least came across this other accident site, dropped them off and sped away, or did they speak?
There's no indication, no charges or no indication if police were talked to this driver that dropped off the couple of victims. But
seems like you'd want to.
Because I think they are indicating that they were able to get witness statements at that moment.
Okay.
When the person dropped off the 2 individuals saying what had happened.
And they were able to determine that it wasn't that driver.
Right.
Okay.
And they determined that it was a 1-vehicle crash across town at North Broadway and Campbell around the same time.
Interesting. Okay. Well,
that is what happened. And
Wow.
you know, it's weird stuff sometimes. You just never know.
Stuart McMillan, we appreciate your reporting.
Thank
you.
you.
You are the best.
Oh yeah. Thanks.
Jesus. Just take it. We're going to do some Cardinals stuff. John Rooney, he is going to be on the call later today. Doubleheader is coming up. How about that? John Rooney, one of the radio voices of the Cardinals on KMOX, is next on the Chris and Amy Show.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Here's another satisfied customer of 3-Day Kitchen and Bath, Anita Bennett.
When I first heard about 3-Day Kitchen and Bath, I thought, there's no way they could do a good job in 3 days, and they must carry only the plain Jane basics in cabinets, countertops, and flooring. Then they came to our house, and we found out they offered top quality materials with tons of choices and lots of custom options. They worked with us to design a bathroom that was perfect for our family. They looked at our needs and thought of details I hadn't even considered. The installation was clean, thorough, and professional, and they were done in just 3 days. When we got back from the hotel, I couldn't believe the difference. The bathroom is beautiful.
See us on the web at 3daykitchen.com.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Tom Ackerman here for Busey Bank, recognizing the Guardian Angels Settlement Association as a building community partner. Guardian Angels serves under-resourced community members, helping them take the first step on the path to possible. They assist over 4,000 individuals in our community through their early childhood education and social stability programs. To learn more about Guardian Angel, Google Guardian Angel STL. Busey Bank encourages you to get involved. Together, we can build community.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President at Busey Bank. At Busey, community and giving back are at the heart of everything we do. We're more than a bank. We're your neighbors and your partners. We take pride in engaging with the communities we serve and building lasting relationships because our commitment to strengthening our communities is a top priority. Whether you're shopping local or giving back through volunteerism, every little bit counts. Join us at Busey Bank as we continue building the communities we call home.
At 11:30, we've got sun and 75 degrees downtown at the Arch. Pro-Palestinian protesters begin to gather for a news conference after the arrests and protests at Washington University on Saturday.
Live on the scene.
Let's go to KMOX's Sean Malone with the latest. Sean?
Michael, right now, a little more than a dozen protesters are stationed about a half hour out from the press conference. They've begun chanting. There's a drum that's being banged as well. And many of them are holding signs up. We're on the corner of Lindell Boulevard and Skinker Boulevard across the street from Washington University. So on the Forest Park side of that street corner. We'll see if the crowd continues to grow as we get closer and closer to that noon press conference. But so far, if I had to guesstimate a number, just a little bit under 20, maybe 20, give or take. Live on the corner of Lindell Boulevard and Skinker in Forest Park, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
An independent candidate for U.S. Senate in Missouri says he's gathered enough signatures to create a new party in the state.
Cards are incredibly stacked against independent candidates. The two parties have done a really good job of raising a lot of barriers to make sure independents can't be successful.
Jared Young hopes to create what he calls the better party to make it easier for like-minded third-party candidates to get on the ballot. Young describes himself as center-right. He tells KMOX partisan warfare is keeping America from making progress on important issues. The full conversation on the Total Information AM podcast page at KMOX.com. Runners from across America leave downtown St. Louis a little cleaner than it was before.
This is Stuart McMillan. You've heard of pillaging a city. How about clogging a city? I caught up with Michael Sabrowski from Philadelphia, who was jogging down Market Street. He had a bag in one hand and a trash picker in the other.
At this event, it's called the Running Industry Association, and this is our Run Summit. And last year I think we collected about 100 pounds of trash along Lake Michigan and Chicago, and this year we're in St. Louis instead, and kind of cleaning up the city.
He says about 100 runners are in town, and I spotted them quickly picking up a bumper, taillights, and other debris from a traffic accident that happened Monday night in front of the Ulysses S. Grant statue right there at City Hall.
We've got two cars in a crash on 141 going north at Romaine Creek. That's got the right lane closed. 55 north, the exit to 44 west is closed because of a two-vehicle crash there, and road work on 141 going north at Pritchard Drive. That's got the right lane closed. This afternoon, sunny and warm with a high 85. For tonight, more clouds and a thunderstorm, low 63. Tomorrow's high 82. Right now, 75 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underline Three Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
The Biz Dash is St. Louis's healthiest happy hour. Combining fitness and fun, it's a perfect team bonding activity for any size business. All levels of runners and walkers are welcome. Join us this spring at City Park, the home of St. Louis City SC. With music, food, drinks, and more, the Biz Dash is the ultimate office party. Thursday, May 9th at City Park in downtown St. Louis. Create your company team today at stlbizdash.com.
We have over $34 trillion in national debt. Where do you think the money to pay for that is going to come from? Taxes. Believe it or not, taxes are at historic lows right now, but how much longer will that last? A Roth IRA conversion might be a good option when planning for your retirement because you can pay lower taxes now and avoid potentially higher taxes later. The FIRA Capital Management Team, formerly Heisey Advisory Group, have seen taxes rise and fall. They know what options you have to potentially reduce the amount of taxes you pay in retirement. Call the team at FIRA Capital Management and schedule your tax analysis today. 314-328-4400. Uncle Sam needs money. Don't let him take it all from you. 314-328-4400. Investing involves risk. Always consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding a Roth conversion, as there may be additional tax considerations. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized. With help from Beacon, I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels, New York. And for psychics, think California Psychics. You want the best, you go to the best. At California Psychics, home of free spirits and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. That's why we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
You collect baseball memorabilia.
16 bobbleheads and counting.
Have a closet full of jerseys.
Number 7, that's my favorite.
And let's not forget
my rally towels.
Now, KMOX and Rawlings are celebrating you, the loyal fan. You could win tickets to an upcoming game and $100 from Rawlings. Get entered now at KMOX.com/contests. Just upload a photo of you decked out in your game day attire.
I'm the best fan.
I'm the best fan.
The best fans in baseball. Presented by KMOX and Rawlings. The mark of a pro. Now, the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX. Sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
It is the Chris and Amy show on KMOX. We are getting ready for baseball this afternoon. In fact, it is a DH, a double header. There will be 2 games today after the Cardinals and the Tigers were rained out in Detroit last night. First game of this series, as we welcome in John Rooney, the play-by-play voice of the team, is Kyle Gibson and Jack Flaherty. This, John, is a very interesting matchup, and primarily because the Cardinals are going to face their old starter.
And he has not faced the Cardinals before. We saw him last year in Baltimore, but he wasn't one of the starting pitchers that we had to face there. And Rahm was able to do a really nice job against the Orioles, part of that trade. And now after the offseason, Flaherty found himself here in Detroit, and he's looking for his first win with the Detroit Tigers. So it'll be a first today. It's Gibson, who has seen a lot of Detroit over the years, going 11-11 against them, up against Jack Flaherty. And we'll see the approach. Flaherty has cut his walks down, but yet he hasn't picked up a win.
Still a young pitcher, Flaherty. He dealt with the injuries, obviously. But how do you look at his career from starting with the Cardinals, all that promise? I thought for a time that he really could be a legitimate Cy Young candidate, and we know that the injuries kind of set him back. So how do you look at his career so far?
Well, there's no doubt about that. The injuries just derailed everything in St. Louis for him. And he had a really good second half of a season when he first came on board, and that was where everybody picked up on all the promise of Jack Flaherty, but it just didn't really work out at all in St. Louis, as he had one problem or another physically and trying to get out there, stay healthy, and the home run ball was a little bit of a problem. He's given up a few of those this year, but Flaherty, when he's right, he has a world of ability and talent, but if an injury comes along, there's not much a guy can do about that except try to either pitch through it or rehab and come back and do something positive, which he wasn't able to do a whole lot of with the Cardinals.
Speaking of that, John, injuries and rehabbing, Dylan Carlson beginning a rehab assignment, or at least scheduled to today. Just how close are the Cardinals to being fully healthy again?
It's going to take a little while. I think Matt Carpenter's going out later in the week, and he'll start his rehab. And to get Dylan Carlson back, I mean, what a spring he put together, Chris. He was terrific, and wouldn't you know it, he clipped Walker and had a fall, injuring his shoulder against the Cubs, the next to last game of spring training. And that's when Victor Scott got the call up to join the team. But Carlson was going to be the starting center fielder in Dodger Stadium up until that injury. And look at how long it's taken just to try to get to rehab games. It's taken a month. And hopefully he can come back with the kind of swing and the approach at the plate and the way he was playing in the outfield, because he looked like he was going to get off to a really good start. And we could see some of the promise that the people have been looking for out of Dylan Carlson. And I sure hope that comes to pass for him, because he's worked hard enough.
So let's talk about, because I don't think we had a conversation since Jordan Walker was sent down. We got that news almost a week ago. He was struggling at the plate to begin the season. What is your assessment of him, and whether or not you think he'll make his way back anytime soon?
Oh, he should make his way back. I don't know how soon, but he has to correct an issue where he's on the ground all the time. This is a power hitter, a guy who was the player of the year in the Texas League before he had a chance to come up and play at the big league level, and then was sent down a year ago. They want to see him driving the ball. He was getting a lot of hits either through the hole at shortstop or some loopers to the outfield, and I think they're trying to correct some issues with the lower body to try to get him to drive the ball. He did improve in the outfield, though. He improved greatly in right field. I don't think he'll win a Gold Glove, but the improvement he made out there made him a serviceable everyday right fielder. Now they have to get him right at the plate. And the decision was, well, let's take some of the pressure off, where he's not worried about being sent down, having that hanging over his head. And they gave him a lot of time off, about a week, before he played in a game at AAA. And it looks like Victor Scott is starting to get some balls in play and a few openings for him where he can get on and steal some bases and get right. And hopefully he'll be back at some point. Where the Cardinals had a lot of outfielders, they've come up pretty thin because of injuries or ineffectiveness. And if they can correct those problems at the minor league level, then they'll be back to some depth in the outfield.
You know, the start the Cardinals had, certainly last year was one of those very disappointing starts. And, you know, we know how the season turned out. But it is interesting, even though we're only about a month into the season, to look at how the teams in the division so far have performed, and to know that only 4.5 games at this point separating the best team in the division in terms of record and where the Cardinals are right now in last place. This is going to be, John, I think, a very competitive division for a while.
Well, there's no question about it, but I don't put much stock right now in the standings because of what the Cardinals have had to do. For one thing, 2 West Coast trips, and then to come back home and play a homestand and go out to the East Coast to play the Mets and then work your way back to the Midwest to Detroit. This is actually a break in the schedule for the Cardinals compared to having to play the Dodgers and the Padres, come home, then go back out to play against Arizona, and then go back to the West Coast for another series before coming back home. So it was nice to get 2 out of 3 in Oakland, and disappointing that they didn't get 2 out of 3 in Arizona. But the Cardinals, I figured right around 500. And I believe this, if they can play close to 500 baseball or a little bit over and be there a month from now, the way the schedule is set up and worked out with the travel, I think the Cardinals will win the division, because you'll see your pitching line up. You'll also see your offense start to come around. And who knows, if that offense comes around, then they could be much better than a 500 ball club through May.
Cardinals 13-15 on the season, so just a couple of games under 500. Let me ask you about pitching right now, because as it stands in terms of innings from the starters, Cardinals are up there about 10th or 11th in baseball in terms of getting starters innings out of their pitchers. But the bullpen has performed really well, John.
That's a really good bullpen, and they were up against a really good Mets bullpen. And I think right now the approach, if you're going to play the Mets or the Cardinals, try to get to their starters before you get to the big 3 in the Cardinal bullpen. That has been JoJo Romero. And then you come back where you have a couple of right-handers at the end who just may be able to do a terrific job of closing things down. And Helsley's been very good at the end of the game. And I've just been really impressed by the way the bullpen is starting to line up. The one thing they need, though, is more consistency out of Giovanni Gallegos. But what they've been able to get so far out of the back end of the bullpen is terrific. And Fernandez has really been good. I mean, he has absolutely been excellent as a Rule 5 pick. And Andrew Kittredge, I can't tell you what a great pickup he has been. He gives up a hit, doesn't faze him at all. He'll come back with a double play ball. He has a very good slider and a good live fastball, lots of movement on his pitches. And John King is back. Love to see him do what he did at the end of the season last year when the Cardinals got him from Texas, part of the Montgomery trade. Really like to see him come on strong too, but hopefully we can get a couple of other players, Middleton and O'Brien, get them healthy and have them in the mix. And I think that bullpen can be even better than it is now. And it's very good right now.
John, as you mentioned, waiting for the offense to get rolling, but what have you thought of this team's defense so far? Is it what you expected, better than what you expected?
That's what I expect, and it's what the Cardinals expect. That's one of the areas they wanted to clean up from last year, also improve on their base running. And there was a base running mistake by Wilson Contreras. He must have thought there were 2 outs when he was running on a pop-up to shortstop in the top of the 11th and was doubled off first base. But there haven't been too many mistakes on the bases like that. It has been much better base running, and we'd love to see the speed guys get on. That's the disappointment in Ciani's slump, that he couldn't get on base and steal more bases and put more pressure on the pitching. As we had an instance the other day where Quintana gave up just 3 doubles in his outing, but one of the doubles was hit by Mason Wynn. He advanced on a ground out and was able to score on a safety squeeze bunt by Ciani. And that's how they manufactured a run to get on the board. It's too bad they couldn't have cashed in on one of the other doubles earlier, or they wouldn't have had to worry about playing extra innings. But I think the defense is about where I thought it would be. It's better having a Ciani who can catch about everything out there. And certainly what we saw from Victor Scott II, he can play a Gold Glove outfield. It was a rainy day where he had the bad game against Philadelphia. But other than that, I thought he was stellar in center field. And we're going to have Newbar in center field in game 1 today, Burleson in right field. And we'll see how all that plays out as the Cardinals and Detroit have a doubleheader. We're going to see everybody off the roster in this game today for sure.
How much more do you love a doubleheader with the pitch clock involved?
I didn't mind doubleheaders anyway, especially if we didn't have to play the day-nighter. And this is going to be about 35, 40 minutes in between games, play the second game, and come right back tomorrow with the day game, and then the team will have a day off at home before playing the White Sox over the weekend. The pitch clock, I like it much better with all the games. It doesn't matter doubleheader or playing a single game. I think it's kept the pace going. I really didn't think they had to knock 2 seconds off the pitch clock with runners on. Didn't think they had to do that, but they did. And pitchers adjust. They do what they have to do, and it really hasn't been a big problem, I don't think. They just need to get, I guess, better baseballs to the point where they're rubbed up properly, or the stitches. We see a lot of baseballs being thrown out right now, and I'd like to see a little more uniformity with that, where that'll keep the game going a little bit faster if you don't have your starting pitcher out there throwing every other baseball over to the dugout.
Tell you what, I don't like to see anybody lose their job, but I'm ready to put that mud guy out of business. We need to get better baseballs, John.
Well, the whole thing is the baseballs aren't rubbed up uniformly, and they weren't when the umpires used to do it. Some happened to be rubbed up to the point where if you had a night game, they're kind of hard to see, and others not enough where they were so slick. And we had the issue in Cincinnati a few years ago. Bronson Arroyo liked to have a slick baseball. They weren't rubbing them up at all, I don't think. And Chris Carpenter threw probably 24 baseballs out that whole game because he couldn't get a grip on them.
Can we talk next week? Do you mind? Is that cool if we call you again?
Let's see. Is this Wednesday?
It is Tuesday, John.
Don't say that, because I'm going to think I thought it was Wednesday for a split second.
What's the schedule? We've had all these day games on Wednesdays.
Actually, I think we have another one next week.
KMOX Day at the ballpark next Wednesday.
Yeah, that's
isn't
right. It is.
Is it?
So we can't do that on Wednesday.
So Tuesday it is.
So I guess so. I guess it's Tuesday.
It's all us, man.
Hey, and
you can bank it.
And you're on that bobblehead.
Yeah, you're on the bobblehead,
with Ricky,
John.
and you've got your voices.
I guess they put my call of Pujols' 700th home run on the voice chip.
Great call.
And it was probably Ricky talking about the University of Virginia on his voice.
Yeah, probably. It's all he ever talks about. He's
UVA
talking
all
about
the
those
way.
Cavaliers.
That's it. He's very cavalier about it.
Don't ask him about
nicely
that 16 seed 1 game. Don't bring that one up. He's not gonna like that.
Yeah, I think he's over it.
Is he? Well, they
That's
want a
basketball.
title. Yeah.
They got to have a bobblehead where it's all John Rooney's jokes, like the one he told John Fogerty about putting him in first class.
Wouldn't you rather be in first class? And it was the reaction. Never mind.
Love you, John. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
John
Sounds
Rooney.
good.
John Rooney with us here. He is a radio voice along with Ricky Horton. They will have the call this afternoon. 1:45 pregame show. It's the first of a doubleheader, and the Cardinals facing their former friend Jack Flaherty. What was that for alliteration? This Cardinals report brought to you by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated. RennerDoorSTL.com. Chris and Amy on KMOX.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent or visit MOFBinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're from Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-578-2415. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-578-2415 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. That's 800-578-2415. To see if you qualify. That's 800-578-2415.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now, your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. Good for you. That's cash that you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel, everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with the TrueHold Sell and Stay Leaseback program. This is a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to TrueHold while its value is high. You bank all that equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a TrueHold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993. That's 1-855-300-9993. Or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free. explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-790-1400. 800-790-1400.
Summertime is the best time to enjoy the outdoors and enhance the appearance of your home. Banner Construction can make your home the showplace of the neighborhood with maintenance-free James Hardy siding and beautiful Pella replacement windows. Drive up to your home with a renewed pride. Visit bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050. Get a free in-home design and estimate. Call 314-569-1050 and have a banner day. 314-569-1050.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
A roller coaster ride of banter and brilliance. Chris and Amy on KMOX.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog, you're crying all the time. You ain't nothing but a hound.
Don't ask us why. We were just watching the ending of Old
I
Yeller.
have never seen, I've joked about that movie. I've never watched that movie. And I just watched the last couple of minutes of Old Yeller and I am upset.
Are you scarred?
Yes, I am scarred. What in the world is wrong with people?
All right,
Why would you make a movie like
let's talk
that?
about Christy the Gnome real quick.
Oh my
So Christy Gnome, you know who she is. Well, she has that book that is either out or coming out, and she describes how she killed a family dog by shooting it, by leading it to a gravel pit and shooting it because she thought it was too aggressive and was untrainable, and it was 14 months old. And she's been doubling down on it since the word got out of this story that she boastfully presented in this book, like it was going to make people like her, and maybe it does for some folks, but
I don't think so.
it has gotten her mostly criticism. The Daily Beast reporting that they have talked to multiple people in and around Trump's circle, former President Donald Trump. She has vice president aspirations, and the reporting is that pretty universally within the Trump camp, this was a huge mistake on her part. That Trump does not like the story, not that he cares about dogs or anything, but that it shows a lapse in judgment. And that it went through a multi-step it wasn't like a speech she was giving and then just brought up this story on accident on a whim. She put it in a book on purpose, and they think it shows poor judgment.
Yeah, it's just an awful story. And Old Yeller is a horrible movie.
So her political career may go the way of that poor dog that she killed. What's his name? Cricket?
Oh, yeah, I think it was.
Poor Christy Gnome.
Or Cricket.
Poor Cricket. Yeah. Just take it to a dog trainer, you dork. It's Chris and Amy show on KMOX.
Okay, so you filed your taxes this year, but you know you have past IRS issues. And now the IRS letters are coming. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. Don't ignore those IRS letters. They're important and give you rights and deadlines to defend yourself. Waiting could cause you to lose those rights. Call the Lance Story Law Firm now and let us help you get ahead of the IRS and defend your rights while you still have time. The Lance Story Law Firm is located here in St. Louis, so take the first step and hire a tax resolution attorney. We've made it super easy to schedule your free consultation in person, or you can do a phone call and save travel time. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm. Call today at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Calling all bobblehead collectors and animal lovers. This is one you won't want to miss. Join us at the ballpark on Saturday, May 4th, when the Cardinals host the Chicago White Sox and the 19th annual Purina Pooches in the ballpark. That day, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will receive a bobblehead of Adam Wainwright with his lovable retirement gift, his new pup Louie, courtesy of Purina. For full details, visit cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Adam Wainwright, St. Louis Cardinals for the Loop.
Fashionistas, be ready. The high-demand Cardinals purse giveaway returns to Busch Stadium on Sunday, May 5th. That day, the Cardinals host the White Sox, and 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will take home an exclusive Cardinals purse, courtesy of Edward Jones. This tan handbag features a gold metal chain and a mystery bonus strap. Following the game, kids 15 and younger can participate in the Haichu Kids Run the Bases. Full details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, it's sunny and 76 degrees downtown FE Arch. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Our top story this hour.
The president believes that forcibly taking over a building on campus is absolutely the wrong approach. That is not an example of peaceful protest.
White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says campus protests over the war in Gaza, including the one at Columbia University, must remain peaceful.
A small percentage of students shouldn't be able to disrupt the academic experience, the legitimate study for the rest of the student body. Students paying to go to school and wanting an education ought to be able to do that without disruption. And they ought to be able to do it and feel safe doing it.
The St. Louis Palestine Solidarity Committee is holding a press conference on Saturday's events at Washington University. That's beginning right now at the corner of Lindell and Skinker in Forest Park, directly across from the WashU main campus. KMOX does have a reporter at the event. Washington University has placed Aldermanic President Megan Green on administrative leave. In a letter addressed to Green, the university alleges she used her campus card as an adjunct professor to allow unauthorized persons into campus buildings on Saturday during the campus encampment. While they investigate this, Green is barred from job duties and she cannot contact students or other administrators. Green is also not allowed to meet students in person off campus. The university says it is investigating and then reassessing the move. KMOX is learning more about the crash victims dropped off outside St. Louis City Hall overnight.
Police say city officers and EMS were already at Market and Tucker for a crash when 2 severely injured women were left there with them. They came from a single vehicle crash near Bell Fountain Cemetery, where a witness loaded the women into his vehicle and drove off trying to find a hospital. An ambulance outside City Hall then took the women the rest of the way. One was pronounced dead at the hospital and the other listed in critical stable condition. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
A sports betting bill from a Democrat is trying to smooth out the bumps in the road that have kept the measure from passing the Missouri legislature.
What I really tried to do with this proposed legislation is to not make anyone happy and really try to do what is best for our communities.
The bill's author, State Rep Crystal Quaid from Springfield, says regulations on gambling machines at gas stations need to be tightened.
Law enforcement do not feel like they have the tools to go after these guys. Prosecutors are very rarely doing anything about it if the law enforcement does get involved. And so at the end of the day, there really is no regulation happening, and it's just a free reign for these machines everywhere. And so what I'm trying to seek to do is to put some parameters in place and make sure that we're able to collect that revenue that's out there.
The bill is being heard in committee this afternoon. The KMOX Business Desk, Walmart is offering a new private label food brand targeted at a price-conscious level for consumers looking for premium products. Jason Brooks has details about the grocery-focused unveiling.
Better Goods is Walmart's biggest private label launch in 20 years, with the retailer saying the brand includes over 300 items from a wide range of categories including dairy, frozen snacks, soups, beverages, and more. Most of the items will be priced at less than $5. Walmart rivals Target and Kroger are also expanding their store label offerings, with each announcing plans to add hundreds of new products to their respective private labels this year.
Walmart receives nearly 60% of its U.S. sales from its grocery business. The Dow from Stifel is down 371 points. That's about 1% to 38,014. We've got a two-vehicle crash on 141 going northbound at Romaine Creek Road. That's got the right lane closed. Some road work on 55 going north at Broadway in the left lane, 141 north at Olive in the left lane, and a crash involving one car on 44 westbound at the exit to Big Bend. That's got the center lane closed. Also, a major water main break has Brentwood Boulevard closed completely between Antler and Darst in Richmond Heights. That's immediately south of Clayton Road, and it's right by the Galleria. So watch out. Brentwood Boulevard is closed because of a major water main break.
Mostly sunny and warm this afternoon with a high climbing to 85. Then tonight, increasing clouds with a thunderstorm around late. It will be mild with a low down to 63. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Brandon Buckingham on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
It is a sunny sky, 76 at the moment, downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills. Jewels on Hampton pays some of the highest prices for your diamonds, semi-precious colored gems, gold, coins, precious metals, collectibles, sports memorabilia, and more. Shop Jewels on Hampton for the perfect gift. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton Avenue in St. Louis Hills.
The Chris and Amy Show, sponsored by the St. Louis Cardinals. KMOX Day returns to Busch Stadium May 8th. For details, go to cardinals.com/theme. Time to rewind. It's the Chris and Amy Rewind Recap.
This is Eric Church from the Stagecoach Festival. Was it? Do you mind if I speak? What the hell is the matter with you?
I thought
Just talking over me.
I wasn't talking over you.
Yes, you did.
I
You
was
literally-
talking in perfect tandem with you. Play it again.
You literally talked over me. Stagecoach Festival. And you-
Talking over as if I had said different words. This was like me perfectly in chorus with you. So what I thought you were doing, I thought you were pausing like, okay, Amy, your turn.
I was. Listen to the whole thing again. This is what happened. This is Eric Church from the Stagecoach Festival. So what happened was I looked at you when I said Stagecoach because you talked over me. And I'm like, what is the matter with you? And then you did it again. And it was like a, you go, no, you go.
Yeah, that's
and they
what
both
it
go
was.
at the same time.
Like a slow motion crash at a four-way stop. That's what that was.
What is the matter with you?
But it was so perfectly in tandem. It was almost beautiful.
It's almost like we planned it, but we didn't. It's just Amy being Amy. Stagecoach Festival. So awkward. God.
It's actually amazing how perfect it was, though.
We were talking about the Stagecoach Festival where Eric Church was there performing, and people did not like the fact that he was performing nothing but covers. He was sitting on a stool.
A few of his own songs.
Yes, but it was in a 75-minute set. He played mostly other things because he said he wanted to change it up and do something different, but the people going to the show didn't know that. So a lot of them walked out.
And it was
on Eric
acoustic.
Church.
It had a 16-person choir. So it wasn't like he wasn't trying to put on a good show. It was just so very different from what people were expecting. And it's a fine line. As an artist, you have the right to artistic expression, but also there's a trust that people fell in love with your album and they came to see you perform that album because they're not bored with it, even
Right.
though you may be.
Right. And there are people who have agreed with that, I think, for the most part, because if you're the paying customer, that is what you are. And I recognize the artist is the artist and has to keep things fresh for themselves. Otherwise, they lose interest. And if an artist loses interest, it's not interesting to see them play because you can tell they're not into it any longer. But if you are going to do a show, there is a reasonable expectation that you're going to play stuff you wrote and you've performed and are associated with you. Maybe a cover here or there, but It was kind of a strange thing for him to do there.
Yeah.
We started off the show talking about the protests that happened at Wash U over the weekend. Megan Green, the president of the Board of Aldermen, was not terminated, but she was placed on administrative leave from the university. She participated in the protests. They are checking on whether or not she used her key card to gain access to buildings and brought in unauthorized people. She says she did not. The university says they are looking into it. At either rate, the protests happened over the weekend and about 100 people arrested.
Yes, at Wash U, and it is paid administrative leave. And she brought up that there are some outside agitators at some of these protests on campus. And yeah, just to be clear, on some campuses, I believe University of Florida, they did have outside agitators. From some of the more high-profile protests, the more vitriolic protests, where we're seeing the Hezbollah flags and the Hamas flags, and Jewish students being blocked from going to class. UCLA, Columbia, Princeton, those are students.
I did see a video yesterday at UCLA of a Jewish student who was, and I didn't see anything leading up to it because the video started when he was already interacting with the people who were blocking his way. And he said, I'm trying to get to class. It is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go by. This is what they're doing. And I was angry for him in that moment.
And the guard was right there because there were gates around the quad, and there was only a certain entrance to get to his class. At the very beginning of the video, you see the police officer just standing there while
I didn't see the police officer.
Yeah, that was the longer video. He was just standing there, the guard. I don't know if it looks like campus security. The guard was standing by the gate. So, because at first my thought was, well, why does he go around them? But he couldn't because that was all blocked off. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not doing anything. That's not going to change anybody's mind in your favor.
A really, really bad look, because that's how, you see those pictures from, the Nazis on campus in the 30s, hooking arms, holding hands, hooking their elbows together.
Being blocked off.
Yeah.
Not by the security guard, but by you two. You three. Oh, look, they're making their burger while I'm going this way. This is what they do. Everybody, look at this. Look at this. I'm a UCLA student. I deserve to go here. We pay tuition. This is our school. And they're not letting me walk in.
Look, I think the protest, fundamentally, there is merit to it because there are a lot of innocent people who are being killed in Gaza, tens of thousands, and starving, disease. There's a lot that is going on that needs to stop. Yes, I understand that Hamas is responsible for the beginning of all of this with what happened in October. But if it's your protest is culminating in things like that, which it didn't get violent or anything, but it doesn't put me on your side. It just doesn't. And I don't claim a side here because I'm not on one, but that's the kind of stuff that just, it does not do it for me, man. And it really, I think, kneecaps what your argument is. We talked about the non-compete clauses and how they may be going away from the Federal Trade Commission. We talked to Douglas Farrar.
Once the rule goes into effect, employers will have to notify their employees who have non-compete clauses that those clauses are no longer enforceable. This is a small change from when we previously announced it, but should allow companies to save time and money from having to not go back and redo contracts for everybody. But yeah, that's right. I mean, we want to free people from these restrictive covenants and unlock the benefit of competition that'll come along with folks finding new jobs and starting new businesses.
So that entire interview, a lot of good information, and it's what the Federal Trade Commission is doing here. And I said may go into effect because there are going to be legal challenges to it. Don't know if it's going to be successful or not. Also, really good stuff on grocery prices, and the Federal Trade Commission is interested in that. And they are finding that a lot of the reason that prices have been higher at grocery stores is because the larger grocers are taking advantage of you. Quite simply, they raised prices when there were supply chain issues. And now that those supply chain issues have subsided, they have kept prices high. Meanwhile, the profits have soared.
Yeah. I mean, and that's something that it's frustrating. It can be infuriating that what do you do? Come on, we want to support the free market, but also it feels like the abuse of a crisis, which is what usually politicians do. You know, the old trope, never let a crisis go.
Does it go to waste or something?
Go to waste.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Go to waste. And so we see that a lot of times with emergency policies that are very illiberal in certain ways. And we think, well, we just have to do this during this emergency. Then the emergency ends and those illiberal policies or expensive policies remain intact.
Yep.
And that's what's happening now with the prices. And that's maddening. And that doesn't do anything to help your case saying, hey, we're here for the American people. We're a business here to serve you. I feel like you're kind of taking advantage of
And
us.
also the larger grocers throwing their weight around and demanding that some of these suppliers give them a lot of the supply so there's not as much available to the smaller grocers, and therefore they can, artificially keep prices high. That's the kind of thing, to me, when we get really angry about, oh, everything's so expensive. Yeah, maybe we should be paying attention to why it's so expensive and who's really at fault here. When a major chain is reporting record profits, they should be making record profits. Profit is fine. Record profits, when we're talking about inflation and talking about high prices for people, maybe we should be focusing our attention on them a little bit more.
Well, speaking of high prices and who's causing it and getting mad, we're going to have that discussion now with the housing market because housing prices continue to rise and Wall Street investors are a big reason why. We were going to chat with Will Parker of the Wall Street Journal, who looked into this issue.
That's coming up next. In fact, anything that you've missed on the Odyssey app, AUDACY, go back and get the podcast later. And you can listen to this upcoming interview live on it. And when it's over, go back and hear it as well. It's Chris and Amy. We still have Stevie Nicks tickets to give away. Soon we'll do it on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Underline Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
If you're thinking about selling your home, I'm sure there are two things that you want: certainty and the most money, right? This is Debbie Monterey, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know that the agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis's real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first call when looking for an agent. Gloria does not make empty promises. She provides written guarantees. What does that mean for you? Certainty. Certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she will buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis's real estate expert, Gloria Liu, at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fira Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Bo Matthews for Reinhold Electric. When you need electrical services or repairs, call on Reinhold Electric, whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial. And with spring storms in the Midwest, it can be very dangerous and you have to have your power. Get an inline generator. Reinhold Electric can get that for you and get it hooked up so you'll be ready, because when the power goes out, your power can stay on. Call 314-631-1158. That's 314-631-1158. Online at ReinholdElectric.com. Tell them Bo sent you.
Make reservations for the 2024 Women of Achievement Award Luncheon, presented by KMOX. The award luncheon takes place Tuesday, May 14th at the Ritz-Carlton, St. Louis, and celebrates 10 outstanding volunteers from across the St. Louis metropolitan region. Doors open at 11:15, and the luncheon runs till 1:30. Reservations are $60 per person. Sign up now and find out more details at KMOX.com/events.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been hurt on the job, you need the best. Onder Law. Hurt on the job? Call Onder Law today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
KMOX, where every crack of the bat resonates with tradition, passion, and the spirit of Cardinals Nation.
Chris and Amy on KMOX. As Amy Marks-Kors mentioned going into break, that for a lot of people, houses are just out of their price range, and it is becoming a massive problem. In fact, already is in the United States. To talk about that with us, we go to the Quiver River Electric guest line, and we bring in Will Parker, reporter for the Wall Street Journal, who joins us on KMOX. Will, we appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you for being with us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Will, your story hit on a personal level because my brother and sister-in-law are first-time home buyers trying to buy a home. They found one. They were able to make an offer. And they and the other couples bidding for the home lost out to an investment company. And so when I saw your story that Wall Street investment companies are scooping up hundreds of thousands of homes and driving up home prices, I was shocked. So what exactly is happening here? How is Wall Street buying all of these homes?
Yeah, so it's not a brand new thing, right? I mean, after the 2008 financial crisis, there were a lot of home foreclosures. So a lot of homes that were available cheap to buy, and a lot of the buyers that stepped up to get them were companies. And over a period of a few years, they kind of built this new industry that didn't really exist, which was large companies with big private equity funds owning hundreds or thousands of homes kind of scattered around the United States in these new portfolios of rental houses. So that was kind of the first big wave. And during the pandemic, you saw a lot of it happen again, just under different circumstances, that this business had been proven that you could buy houses in suburban neighborhoods, rent them out, make a lot of money doing it. And by the time the pandemic came around and all the housing demand that came with it, these companies were at the ready to start acquiring more homes again. And we saw a lot of that in a lot of different parts of the country, but especially in the Sun Belt, places like Atlanta and Phoenix. And that added a lot of demand to housing markets. You had demand for deep-pocketed investors, and it was one component of a really hot housing market.
How much of a component is it?
Yeah, it's difficult to measure. And there are a couple different ways of looking at it. There is a world of investors who participate in the housing market that includes, both really big companies and a lot of small individuals. And, actually most of the investors that are going out and buying homes and turning them into rentals or flipping homes, they tend to be smaller companies and smaller individuals that don't own that many homes. So the Wall Street owners, or what we call institutional owners that own 1,000 or more homes, this is a relatively small part of the housing market. It's, it could be, overall, nationally, it's a few percentage points. In certain cities during the pandemic, though, it was much higher, and there were big concentrations. And certainly we saw places where these large landlords like Invitation Homes or American Homes for Rent or some of these other private equity-backed companies bought large concentrations of homes in specific areas. So, nationally, big investors are small but growing part of the housing picture. But in certain cities, they're definitely much larger.
And I imagine that impact is just compounding the problem of already high housing prices and expensive housing market because I feel like my brother's experience is the experience of so many young couples, especially first time home buyers, that a lot of these homes, there are like tons of people looking at them as soon as they go on the market. And they're basically saying, you come to this open house on Saturday and make an offer without inspections. We want cash only. And oh, by the way, you might have to compete with these companies. That's a really difficult situation for young people, for a lot of people to buy a home.
That's very difficult. And there were no shortage of these stories, 2021, 2022, before interest rates rose, right? And the housing market was just really hot and homes were selling so quickly that, basically the investor is much faster than you. You need a mortgage, you need time to get all of that squared away, get your down payment squared away. Investor moves really quickly. And like you said, they often have that cash advantage. And home sellers see that as just really secure, really safe. And the realtors often are like eager to get the house sold too and move on to the next thing, right? So in places where you had a ton of investors, that was extra demand, it's extra competition. It definitely made things more difficult. One thing that's a little different now, all home sales have gone down, right? Like fewer people are buying homes. Interest rates made it more difficult for, people like your family members to buy homes, but also, companies don't want to buy as many because it costs them more. So like all buying is down now. And a lot of these Wall Street buyers aren't buying anything right now. But, among what is selling, the investors are still a pretty large share of what does sell. There's a research company called John Burns that tries to track this. And, about a quarter of home sales are some kind of investor is behind the purchase, mostly smaller investors. And this, small landlord phenomenon has really grown. People buy houses off the internet 1,000 miles away, and they see, owning 2 or 3 rental homes in, say, St. Louis, for example, as a great sort of retirement option for them. And I think this is part of the demand side in the housing market that is here to stay for a long time.
What can the federal government do, if anything, about this?
That's a good question. That's not very clear at all, in my view, just based on what I've seen and what I know and what it's done in the past. I mean, so much of our laws and our society are based around fairly unfettered private property ownership and rights, right? But the federal government, the U.S. Senate and the U.S. House, there are Democrats that have introduced a bill that we wrote about that would seek to effectively ban hedge funds as investors from buying and owning single-family homes, and then restrict most other investors to no more than 50 homes. And they would do that through imposing a tax on the homes and requiring them to sell off portions of their portfolios over a course of 10 years. So the hedge funds in this bill introduced by Democrats in Senate and House would say, every year you have to sell off 10% of your portfolio until you're down to zero. There's not a lot of indication that is, moving ahead really quickly in either the House or the Senate. There's a bunch of bills in state houses that would propose similar things that are all kind of at the committee level. But these proposals, they're all within the last year or so, and they're proposing to do something I don't think has a whole lot of precedent. So it is somewhat new.
Will Parker, really great information. We thank you for talking this over with us. It is a complicated issue and it affects a lot of people. And when there is any action on this down the road, we'd like to talk to you again about it.
That would be great. Thanks for having me.
Will Parker from the Wall Street Journal talking with us here on KMOX. When we come back, because it is a day game today, actually it's a doubleheader day. That's what it is. Straight doubleheader between the Cardinals and the Tigers in Detroit. We're going to talk more baseball when we come back with Brendan Schaefer. But right now, it is your chance to win Stevie Nicks tickets.
Hot dog.
Hot dog. Stevie Nicks will be performing at Enterprise Center. That is coming up on May 7th. We have a pair of tickets to give away to see that show right now. Caller number 7 to the contest line, 314-955-1120. 314-955-1120. Good luck.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1907 $10 gold Liberty coins has been found. These gorgeous 1907p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 100 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling the secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1907 gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1907 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 117 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-386-8018. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus, a $50 value free with every order. Call 1-800-386-8018 now to secure your 1907p $10 gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-386-8018.
This is Christina Straight with Straight Realty reminding you why pay more than 4. In 2003, we had a dream to start a real estate company that would revolutionize the real estate market. Now, 20 years later, after navigating through the many markets' ups and downs, we know exactly how to help you in this challenging time. I'm Christina Straight, owner Straight Realty. Don't give away your hard-earned equity. Give us a call today, 314-441-4444, 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than 4?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
At 12:30, sunshine and 78 degrees downtown at the Arch.
This just in.
The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration will move to reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug, the Associated Press has learned, a historic shift to generations of American drug policy that could have wide ripple effects across the country. The agency's move, confirmed to the AP by 5 people familiar with the matter who spoke on the condition of being anonymous to discuss the sensitive regulatory review, clears the last significant regulatory hurdle before the agency's biggest policy change in over 50 years can take effect. Taking schools out of the process, that's what a state representative from O'Fallon wants to do when it comes to 14 and 15-year-olds being able to work in Missouri.
Currently, the state of Missouri requires a work permit for a youth, either 15 or 16, to get a job. And that work permit goes through the school, and the school district has to sign off on that.
Dave Hinman says that rule was put into effect in 1957. His bill would require only a permission slip signed by parents to let a teen do work. He says it should be a decision for parents, not schools. Runners from all over the country invaded St. Louis to clean it up.
A crash right in front of City Hall Monday left debris all over the sidewalk and on the street, bumpers, taillights, car parts, until a group of runners in St. Louis for a conference ran by with bags and trash pickers.
Let's run down to the Arch, grab a nice photo, and then on the way back, collect as much as we can. We'll weigh it at the end.
Michael Zabratsky from Philadelphia is one of the joggers. He tells me they call it plogging.
Fairly common in our industry. A lot of the cities and a lot of the group runners kind of around the country do it.
He tells me while the running industry was in Chicago last year, they collected about 100 pounds of trash. At Market and Tucker, Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
And we've got protesters holding a news conference, pro-Palestinian protesters at Lindell and Skinker. That's between Forest Park and the Washington University campus. Our reporter on the scene says that they are not blocking traffic, but there may be a slowdown as you move through the area of Lindell and Skinker. Also, some slow-moving road work on 370 going west at 94 in the right lane and 55 south before Route Z in the right lane. And we also still have a crash on 141 northbound at Romaine Creek. That's got the right lane blocked there. Weather is sponsored by Sachs Financial. High today 85, thunderstorm overnight, low 63. For tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun, high temperature 82. Right now, sun 78 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
A goal without a plan is just a wish. To get started on your retirement income plan, call Sachs Financial today and live your best life now and in retirement. Sachs Financial, the home of the retirement compensation plan at retiresafestl.com.
When you retire, you leave a lot behind. The daily grind, the long commute, and yes, even the alarm clock. But the one thing that you take with you, a tax bill. Oh, and did you know that income taxes could be your single largest expense in retirement? Good news, though. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group, they can show you ways to pay less to Uncle Sam with the right tax planning. Join Steve and the team for this exclusive educational workshop focusing solely on taxes in retirement. Join us Tuesday, May 21st or Thursday, May 23rd at Stone Summit. These events are complimentary, but you must qualify to attend. Call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or visit yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice.
To the 20, to the 10, to the 5, to the house.
Faroe Field, home sweet home for Tiger Nation on 7 Saturdays each fall. The traditions in tailgating run deep. The victories roar louder, and you can't get energy like this sitting on your couch. So don't wait. Get up and get in the game. Lock in your seats today because every seat is front row to greatness. Call 1-800-CAT-PAWS or visit mutigers.com/tickets. MIZ.
It is possible to enjoy luxury, great customer service, and drive away in your new favorite vehicle at Genesis of St. Charles. Check out their brand new brick and mortar location, the first standalone for Genesis in the state of Missouri. And new cars and SUVs are arriving every day. Genesis of St. Charles makes you feel like a welcome guest the moment you walk through the door. And did I mention their service waiting room is like a spa with the best coffee around? But they'll also pick up your car for service and leave you a loaner. Luxury like never before awaits at genesisofstcharles.com.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Legacy Box is offering a 60% discount. Order yours today and take advantage of our best Mother's Day sale ever. Visit legacybox.com/value and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value for 60% off. legacybox.com/value.
I'm Cardinals pitcher John King, and you're listening to the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
The pitch. Donovan rips it. Right field, base hit. Here is Siani being waved around. Here comes the throw. It is cut off. And in a rundown, it is Donovan. And he is tagged out by Lindor, but the run scores.
Cardinals have baseball this afternoon and evening. It's a straight doubleheader from Comerica Park in Detroit. And the Cardinals will be facing their old friend in Jack Flaherty this afternoon. Got a 2:40 first pitch, 1:45 pregame show right here on KMOX. To the Quiver River Electric guest line we go. It is the Chris and Amy Show here. And we are joined by Brendan Schaefer, Cardinals writer for KMOV.com, who's with us on the show. Good afternoon, Brendan. What's up?
Hey, guys. How are we doing today? Glad to be here.
Oh, we are doing fantastic. And I've been reading about how the Minnesota Twins currently have a rally sausage, and they've been throwing this summer sausage that's wrapped in plastic, but I think loosely wrapped in plastic. They're not eating it, but it has sparked an offensive explosion. And the Cardinals have one of the worst offensive outputs this year. Do they need a rally sausage or something like that?
The rally sausage doesn't sound particularly safe. I don't know what the FDA would have to say about that. It's good that they're not eating it. They had the hamburger thing last year, but that was a plastic phone, and maybe they need to find their next thing because you're right. They're struggling so far.
Well, I don't know if you were paying attention to the New York Mets on their opening day, but they honored a 97-year-old veteran for their, service member of the day. This is not a joke. His name is Seymour Wieners, And
there it is.
Yeah, no, it's not a joke. That's his name. He said he's been bullied ever since he was a kid, but like now he's gone viral, and they are partnering with him at Mets. The Mets are partnering with him for a hot dog day.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I looked this up. I just quickly Googled it, and you had no reason to make it up, Amy. But that's wow.
I know. I don't know you that well, and I wasn't going to throw a Seymour Wieners joke at you.
Not Wieners, but here we are. Yeah.
I just want to correct something. It is not Wieners plural. It's Seymour Wiener.
Okay. Sorry. Does that make a huge difference?
Kinda. I think it changes everything, to be
Does
honest.
It really?
Yeah, kind of.
Seymour Wiener versus what do you think?
You're wasting Brendan's time.
Well, what does Brendan
How about
think?
that ball club?
Okay.
Tell you what.
What? So right now they're 2 games under 500.
He's thinking right now, these guys are the flagship.
Well, maybe not for long. Great, we've lost the contract. They're 2 games under 500 right now, and we were talking to John Rooney earlier about the fact that I know it's still very early in the season, but I think the record of the best team in the division and the worst team in the division is indicative of how close the division will probably end up being at the end of the year, and only 4.5 games separate first and last. Do you think this is how it's going to go for most of the season?
I do think it could be a tight division the whole way through. I got to know, though, you didn't give John Rooney Seymour Wiener, did you? We saved that for me?
Yeah, we saved it for you.
I don't think I brought it up for John, but I will.
You did not get any wiener.
No.
No, he did not get a single wiener, but Amy did it to you. So, yes.
That's fair.
Okay.
To answer your question, though, I do think this could end up being a tight NL Central. And the Cardinals are, they're in last place, but they're not far out of first right now. Really, they're just going to have to start hitting. And you look up and down the lineup at the names in the lineup, but I don't think Cardinals fans would have too many problems with any of the spots in particular. They'd say, oh, that should be a good player. That should be a good hitter. But right now, collectively, we're about a month in, and we're just not seeing it yet. You could make the case the Cardinals have gotten better pitching performances than you might have thought from some of the crew, but to be in last place isn't where you wanted to be. But I think you can look at the offenses, the reason, and you can be grateful for the pitching to only be 4.5 games back with the way they're hitting.
So if you look at all of the facets of the team, starting pitching, bullpen, offense, is there something that they are doing right now that 1 month from now you don't think will look like it looks currently?
I don't think the offense is going to continue to be as bad as it has been. I mean, they've been they're bottom 5, really. If you look at OPS and they're down the list in runs scored.
Last in home runs.
Yeah, and they haven't had a power output, really. And you can look at guys like Goldschmidt and Arenado. Even when Arenado started coming around within the last few weeks compared to his start, he's still not hitting for power either. So that's something that I would say the power concerns might be a little bit real in that without getting those guys going, they may not be a very robust home run hitting team. But just in general, I don't think they're going to be 28th in runs scored. But the problem is going to be if they end up kind of leveling out toward the middle of the league offensively. Well, that's kind of what you thought would happen on the pitching side, be middle of the league pitching wise, and then the offense could be the group that carries you. There's a long way to go before this Cardinal offense is middle of the pack, and even further to go before they're top 12, top 10 in baseball, which is kind of where I thought they'd need to be competitive before the season. So they might be playing out a little bit differently, asking the bullpen and the rotation to do more, carry more of the load than we thought would be the case.
Yeah, and still, even though Arenado's been better lately, he's still not producing where they would expect him to be. And Goldschmidt, those two guys that is the heart of your lineup, and they expect a lot from them. How concerned are you about the two of them long term?
I feel like we may just have to accept the realities of a bit of an age-related decline with Paul Goldschmidt. I don't know that he's going to be as rough as he's been with an average near 200 and an OPS below 600, but he's probably not the MVP candidate that he was a couple of years ago, winning the award in 2022 at this point in his career. Arenado's not really on the wrong side of 35, but he's still kind of having those seasons where you see a little bit more of the slumping throughout, and that leads to lower numbers. I think Arenado can probably level out, but I wonder if we're going to see 25 homers from either of those guys. Right now, you're looking at the combined total being 3, and we're a month into the season. So I do think they can bounce back, but to what extent is a fair question.
Brendan Schaefer covers the Cardinals for KMOV.com. Jordan Walker was sent down last week, and that was a player that I kind of, and I think all of us expected that once he got called up for the first time, that was going to be it. He would just be here and be a major leaguer. It's not worked out so far. As you see what's happened with him, how correctable are his issues, and do you think that they will be corrected?
It feels like he's had a combination of just some mechanical flaws in his swing and then the reality of doing it in front of 40,000 fans on a nightly basis and trying to fix those things at the big league level. It wasn't working for him. So the Cardinals send him back down. I do think, when you saw what he was able to do last year after a short stint in the minors, he came back and finished the year with a 787 OPS. He hit 16 home runs. He ended the year with pretty good numbers, especially considering that he put those numbers together at age 20 and 21. So he's still a very young player. I think the move to Memphis was inevitable with the numbers that he had, and hopefully it is something they can correct soon. But you keep this in mind, too. It's tough at this big league level to do what he is attempting to do at that age. A guy like Jackson Holliday, even with the Orioles, having similar troubles at this point in his career. So Jordan Walker's not alone, but the Cardinals do, I think, the best version of themselves. It includes Jordan Walker hitting near the middle of that lineup.
All right. How much are you looking forward to seeing Jack Flaherty pitching against his old team for the first time?
Oh, it's going to be really interesting. And Jack's career with the Cardinals, he had a number of years here. He had some really big ups and some valleys too that we can remember and look back on. But now we're going to see him on the other side. He's obviously got a lot of familiarity with the Cardinals. And, anytime you face your former team, you've probably got a bit of a chip on your shoulder and an edge. Cardinals did ultimately trade Jack away last season. So I think the fastball velocity I expect to be pretty good. He'll be pumped up for this one.
All right, Brendan Schaefer, we appreciate your time. Thank you for visiting with us today. Is there anything else that we should know before we say goodbye?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing from me, just the Seymour Wiener thing. I'm learning from you guys. So I appreciate you guys for the time today. And that was something I didn't expect.
I love this headline from The Athletic.
Okay.
And the headline is Mets celeb Seymour Wiener, age 97, has heard your jokes.
I bet he has.
We didn't make any
guy.
jokes. We were just talking about him, right? And they're partnering with him for Hot Dog Day.
It's a happy ending. It really is.
Wow. Okay. Brendan.
What? I didn't do anything.
Oh, yeah, you didn't, did you?
This
Okay.
guy.
Yeah, he did.
This guy.
I heard what happened there.
I never trust a guy named Brendan.
The way he spells it with 2 E's?
Can't trust that.
Oh my gosh.
Can you
That's
believe that?
not a typo?
It's not a typo. He spells it with 2 E's.
I don't make typos, all right?
Yeah.
That's right. Matt
Majeski
is a
doesn't screw
detailed
up.
guy. Brendan. Wow.
I like your name, Brendan. I think it's
Thank
perfectly
you.
fine.
Thank you, guys.
It could be worse, as Seymour Wiener knows.
Thanks, Brendan Schaefer.
Thank you.
For KMOV.com, Brendan Schaefer covers your St. Louis Cardinals. So do we, baby. We're going to have the pregame show at 1:45 today.
Yes, we are. We are. And then tomorrow we'll be at Cardinals Nation.
Oh, yeah. You
Why do you keep, what are you dropping? He's dropping things, folks.
He's pen.
He's been like
I got my
jumping up
pen.
from the table.
We're good. Everything's good.
Yeah, we're going to be at Cardinal Nation tomorrow because we've got a day game at Busch Stadium.
And guess what's coming up? KMOX Day at the ballpark, May 8th. That is a week from tomorrow. Bobblehead. It's a bobblehead day. You'll need to get a theme ticket, cardinals.com/theme. And it is Rooney and Ricky.
That's
Gonna be
right.
so good.
And if you get a VIP ticket,
You have to get a VIP ticket to meet the two of them. That's different. KMOX Day at the ballpark. It's going to be great. Cardinals.com/theme. It's Chris and Amy.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you're having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600 or on the website bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Upgrading your windows can be easy with Pella Windows and Doors of St. Louis because we do the work for you. From free consultations and estimates to professional design help and meticulous installation, we're here for you every step of the way. Right now, get 20% off qualifying Pella projects. Offer ends October 30th, 2024. Pella's easy replacement process. You make the decisions, we make them happen. Get started at pellabranch.com/ST-Lewis.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Legacy Box is offering a 60% discount. Order yours today and take advantage of our best Mother's Day sale ever. Visit legacybox.com/value and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value for 60% off. legacybox.com/value.
The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates are pleased to welcome Dr. Samuel Berry to the practice. He joins Doctors Birdie, Malhotra, Brasati, and Royer as the Doctors' Doctors. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
The IRS definitely ramped up operations since the pandemic slowed them down, and activity only increases from here. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. If you're currently under audit or you haven't paid your taxes in the past, now's the time to call the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS has a published Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which says you have the right to retain legal representation because IRS problems are legal problems, and the Lance Story Law Firm focuses specifically on addressing IRS issues for our clients. It's all we do. We get out in front of the IRS, devise the best resolution plan, and work to make sure you're able to take advantage of every program you're qualified to receive. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure company, call the Lance Story Law Firm. We're local, located right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
McKelvey Homes waterfront at Wild Horse Village in Chesterfield is selling fast. With just 3 open home sites and 2 quick move-in homes available, you don't want to miss your chance to live in this unique community. Visit McKelveyHomes.com for more information.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Ordinary radio is overrated. Extraordinary radio now. Chris and Amy on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Congratulations to Jennifer. Troy, Illinois. Illinois does it again.
They're really good at dialing.
I don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. I don't know it's going to be like this.
Oh, man.
She gets to go see Stevie Nicks. Stevie Nicks is performing live at Enterprise Center May 7th, so that's a week from today. And we had tickets to give away. We'll have more to give away tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. We're so good. Hey, we'll talk about this plogging. I just found out what plogging is from Stuart McMillan.
He's on the streets of St. Louis. He saw some joggers, runners with bags, trash bags. They were running around the streets of downtown St. Louis, picking up trash and putting the trash in their bags. And they said they're plogging, which is picking up trash and jogging.
Yeah. And apparently they're not from here.
They're not
from
from here.
Philadelphia, and they do this all over?
Yeah, they're ploggers, and they're from Philadelphia, this group. He said there were about 100 of them. I don't know if he
That's
saw all
interesting.
100 or if there's just 100 ploggers in their plogging group, but they are here and they're picking up trash in downtown St. Louis.
The best part of that story
Mhm.
was there was this car accident outside of City Hall.
Yeah.
And so there's debris. And as the cleanup crews or I guess the ambulance was there, maybe
Wow.
police, these people who were plogging just happening to
This
be
is
running
weird.
by.
Yeah.
They picked up all the debris from the car.
Isn't that a crime scene or like
That's what I was
not
thinking.
a crime scene, but even
Which
like a crash?
included the bumper. They ran away with the bumper.
I know. Like
Now if you saw a group of runners
Yeah.
running down Market Street
Mhm.
with a bumper
Yeah.
and trash, what would you think?
I think they're insane. Because I, run around with my running buddies around the city of St. Louis, and there are a couple of them who are very conscientious citizens, and they will pick up like little pieces of trash.
And
They wouldn't pick up a bumper. No, those are the other unconscientious guys.
well, you have some runner friends
Who are jerks.
who are jerks, and what do they do?
Sometimes they tip over all the scooters. That's terrible. Don't do that. You know what it is, though? Here's why they do it. Because there are all of these parked scooters, like just in the way, like on paths. That could be dangerous. You could have a cyclist. You could have a little lady trip over the scooter.
Because cyclists are famously conscientious of everybody else around them.
Cyclists are the worst.
They really are the
Oh,
worst.
my gosh.
I experienced it in Chicago. They're a little more aggressive and the streets are narrower
Yeah.
in a lot of areas. And there was a group of like 4 or 5
Mhm.
and late teens, early 20s, and they were just all over the road.
All over
and
the
I
road.
and I had my window down and I yelled, "Hey, get in the blanking bike lane, you dip blank." Then they peeled into a 7-Eleven and I kept going.
So, yes, here's the thing. And I know people say, well, runners are the worst. Well, they are, but they're also not as bad as cyclists. And cyclists, too, are hard to pass on curvy roads because they love country roads. And they bike at like 30 miles an hour sometimes. And at any rate, here's what it is. Runners are they're a group of people who go to like the dive bar and drink a beer. Cyclists, they're going to get all dolled up and go to like Bar Napoli or something because they're like the cool see and be seen, right?
What's wrong with Bar Napoli? Why do you
Nothing's
hate
wrong
it
with
so
it. I'm
much?
just saying it's a fancy place. Cyclists are all about this is how much my bike costs. Look at all my stuff I have. Cyclists love to have stuff. And what's crazy is they love to clickety-clack around in their clickety-clackety shoes. And
They
they
do.
go into Caldi's and they get coffee and it's like clickety-clackety. And it's like a contest to see who can unstrap the most. Like they get off their bike and they just unstrap for 10 minutes.
At least runners don't do anything annoying like run in the middle of the road.
Yeah, that'd be so weird.
Yeah, that's not annoying at all. Anything you may have missed on the show is on the Odyssey app, which you need to download for free, AUDACY. You can hear the Cardinals game on it if you're in the area. AUDACY. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Amy Markscores, Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right?